You know it's this. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowing like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look up the better. Put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the 9th part of What If Naruto Enters Undertale. Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of Hussbek on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. 3 Hathis blocked the way. Is he serious? Why would he send 3 Hathis against us? I feel like they're mainly for support rather than offense, thought Naruto, for he wasn't sure if Lancer was aware of this or not. Either way, this would be a simple fight he'll have no issue with. Naruto just went over to the ACT button and clicked to the first Hathi and selected X flatter, which Naruto ordered Ralsei to flatter all the enemies in one go. Out of anyone, I'm glad we randomly encountered all of you, said Ralsei as she made the 3 Hathis feel flattered by her words, which was clearly effective. The 2 were targeted by the Hathis as they were surrounded by a circle of hearts by the Hathis, which nothing happened as they just stood there after the Hathis attack ended. Once it was done, Lancer rushed in there shocked at what he's seeing right now as he said, "Hey, why aren't you guys thrashed? You're totally outnumbered." Naruto raised an eyebrow at that as Lancer was seriously asking that question. Ralsei spoke to Lancer, "You made a team purely of support enemies. Their bullet patterns aren't balanced at all. It's like a dinner made out of 3 glasses of milk." Both Naruto and Lancer are confused by what Ralsei just said. That's oddly specific and weird way to put it, thought Naruto, as that's a first he never heard of before. Lancer was in the same boat as Naruto as he spoke, and that's, unusual, somehow. Ralsei can tell Lancer was confused by her wording, which she said, "Why don't we talk about this after the battle?" Lancer just nodded as he left the battle. Smells like a soft kiss. Okay, that was strange. Anyway, back to the fight. Naruto immediately got to work as he went over to the spare button and selected the first Hathi while having Ralsei do the same with the second Hathi, which both of them spared 2 Hathis, which only leaves the 3rd Hathi left. The last Hathi started making blowing kisses at Naruto as he's being targeted as the Hathi summoned a large heart as it spun around until it stopped and went downward south, which Naruto followed along as the attack ended. Hathi is whispering a lovely spell. Naruto simply went to his spare button and selected the last Hathi while he did the same with Ralsei, which finally he and Ralsei spared the last Hathi with ease. Great job, Naruto. We earned 0 EXP and $84, said Ralsei congratulating Naruto, which he throws a thumbs up. Lancer appeared from view coming towards them. Sweet. How much do I get? Ralsei looked confused. You lost, Lancer. You don't get any. That bummed out Lancer. Oh, then he quickly asked, "Can I have some of yours?" Ralsei looked surprised but then quickly said with a cute angry face, "No." Fine. What about you, Dash? Naruto quickly cut him off, "Don't even ask, it's an instant no." Lancer once again responded while sticking his tongue out, "Fine. Fine. Later, losers." And just like that, he left from view, which ended the battle sequence. Both Naruto and Ralsei didn't even get far as they approached to see Lancer still here, who hasn't really left after the battle ended. "Sup," Lancer greets them as if nothing has happened. "I thought you were running away," said Ralsei in confusion. Lancer answered with a goofy grin as he said, "Yeah, I finished." Naruto just couldn't understand what's Lancer's angle, but he's just only messing with them just for fun. Either way, he doesn't have time for him, he needs to focus his priority right now, okay? Anyway, Ralsei, let's keep moving. Okay. With that, the 2 left the area with Lancer watching them go. Naruto and Ralsei then entered another clock puzzle room with 6 rock platforms in the middle. Looks like we got another clock puzzle here, but this time with 6 rock platforms. Let's give it a try. Ralsei nodded as Naruto went over to the clock to start the timer, and as he did, Naruto immediately went to the first rock that's glowing, then the second two with Ralsei helping out. However, the third is difficult because now they need to get 3 glowing rocks but couldn't because they lack a third person in their party. They tried to get it completed, but unfortunately the timer reached to 0, which meant they failed in solving the puzzle. Naruto, I think we might be missing something, said Ralsei as she noticed what the problem is. Yeah, I know. I was merely testing this out, which confirms me what I need to know. Unlike the first clock puzzle, this one requires another person to complete this puzzle. However, the only issue here is that we're lacking a third-party member in our group, which is Suzy, but we have yet to find her. So, for the time being, we're pretty much stuck with this puzzle for a bit, said Naruto as he wanted to confirm this just to be sure, which he got his answer after trying this puzzle out. Well, maybe we should try going to the next room, suggested Ralsei while staying positive, which Naruto just smiled. I guess it wouldn't hurt to check it out. With that being said, the two went to go check out the next room, and as they look around the corner, they so happen to finally located Suzy, who appears to be stuck while trying to bash her way through the locked door. Ugh, open up, you stupid door, said Suzy out of frustration as she tries to make her way through, but no luck. Having a little trouble opening that door, Suzy? After hearing that familiar yet annoying voice she didn't want to hear, she turned around to find both Naruto and Ralsei standing behind her, while the former is folding his arms and sporting a frown on his face. Oh, great. It's you guys, said Suzy, clearly not happy seeing the both of them here while showing her complete displeasure. Nice to see you too, Suzy, said Naruto. He too was showing his complete displeasure the way how Suzy showed it to them. Ralsei, who was completely oblivious to how those two don't like each other, spoke up. Suzy, we were ever so worried about you. How'd you get past those spikes before? Suzy answered with a smile, walked through them. But this door sucks. Ralsei, who cheerfully said while pointing to the room they came from, don't worry, Suzy. It'll open after we solve the puzzle over there. Suzy smiled at hearing this. Nice. Tell me when you finish it, while in her mind, this is perfect. These two can do it for me while I rest here. I'm sure it won't take long for them to finish, and once they do afterwards, I will continue without them. Easy. However, what Ralsei said next shattered her initial plan completely. Suzy. We need you to finish it. Sometimes, proceeding will take all 3 of us. Furthermore, only Naruto can seal the dark fountain, so, if you don't accompany us, you won't make it home. Suzy was speechless since she couldn't believe what she's hearing. So, you're saying I have to stick with you guys, said Suzy as if she's making sure what she heard right. Yep, said Ralsei happily. Suzy was at a loss right now. She couldn't believe she practically need these two in order to proceed further onward, and what's worse, she need his help in order to seal the dark fountain if she wishes to leave this world. She heard Naruto speak up. Face it, Suzy, no matter how you look at it, you'll need us. You won't be able to get far ahead without our help, and you definitely won't be able to leave this world without my help, since I'm the one that can seal this dark foundation with my soul. So, whether you like it or not, we're your only lead you got if you want to have a chance to leave this place, said Naruto factually. Suzy didn't show it on the outside, but on the inside, she was seething with absolute anger. She wanted nothing more than to outright pummel him right then and there and just bite his face off with a savage grin on her face, but given her current situation she finds herself in, she has no other choice but to stick with them if she wants to leave this world. She remained silent for a bit before suddenly walking to the two and stood behind Ralsei while looking defeated due to her unfortunate situation. Let's just get this over with, said Suzy as she's giving up. Yahoo, Suzy's back on the team. Cue the fanfare, said Ralsei as the music started to play. Suzy joined the party. Suzy just looked at them as Naruto was smiling a bit, which was probably at Ralsei's enthusiasm, and Ralsei was doing a little dance with the music. However, he was also trying not to laugh given how he finds this funny. It is clearly directed at her, which made Suzy hate it. I can't believe I have to be with these nerds, said Suzy mentally as she couldn't believe her own luck right now. She started to walk away slowly, which the music plays again. Suzy leaves. Suzy follows at a distance such that no one can tell she's associated. Naruto couldn't contain his laughter as he let out a few laughs at what had just transpired before him. He has to admit that it was satisfying watching Suzy looking defeated while the music just plays in the background, which only made it hilarious. After calming down a bit, Naruto along with Ralsei went to the puzzle room, which Suzy was waiting on them, which Naruto went over to the clock and started the timer. Like before, Naruto went to the first glowing rock, next is the second two glowing rock, which he along with Ralsei following his lead went over to the two, and lastly the third three glowing rocks, which Naruto, Ralsei and the reluctant Suzy went over to the three glowing rocks. Once that's done, they heard an echo across the room which sounded like a door has opened, which was a clear indication that they completed the puzzle. They returned back to the other room only to find someone standing there, dancing happily. This strange individual who resembles a red checker piece with no arms but brown legs protruding from its edge and a smiling dog-like face on one of its flat sides. Naruto was confused because he was wondering how did this dog-like checker piece get in this room without them knowing. He heard Ralsei whispering to him, "Oh, Naruto. I just realized Suzy missed the tutorial. Next battle, we should show her how to act. I think she might really enjoy that." Naruto just smiled at her while in his mind, "Oh Ralsei, if you knew Suzy ain't gonna be interested in doing acting. Hopefully she understands this soon," thought Naruto, since he knows Suzy is just gonna choose fighting and not acting at all, which will be a huge pill to swallow, but Ralsei will eventually come to understand this sooner or later. Anyway, Naruto approaches the red enemy checker piece, which it notices them and started dancing more, challenging them as the battle sequence begins. Round attacked violently. Naruto recalled Ralsei's advice to include Suzy in an ACT, but in his mind, it's not gonna work. Nonetheless, he decided to try anyway just to prove his point that Suzy is going to refuse and do the exact opposite of what both Naruto and Ralsei wanted her to do. He went to the ACT button and selected the now named enemy round as he sees two different options, which is warning and X compliment, which is a new one as it's meant for Suzy. Normally, Naruto would check first to see round status, but he decided to go against that for now as he selected the X compliment just to get out of the way while having Ralsei defend. Naruto ordered Suzy to flatter the enemy, which she obviously objects. "What? Why the hell would I do that? It attacked us. Let's smash it before it moves," said Suzy, suggesting a fast kill. Naruto only just sighed at this while Ralsei spoke up cheerfully, "Look, Suzy. It seems harmless. If you act nice, we might win without hurting it." Okay. "Hey, little guy," Suzy called out to it, and it stopped dancing for a while. "I really like the axe in your face." Suzy landed a blow on it, which it took 616 damage from her attack as it was sent flying. "Where'd you get it?" Heh. Naruto just facepalmed at this as he knew she was gonna attack it without remorse, which he expected it to happen. He heard Ralsei coming up to him whispering to his ear, "Naruto, maybe I should talk to her." Which he replied in a whisper of his own, "If you wanna risk getting on her bad side, then be my guest." And with that, the battle has ended. You won. Got 0 EXP and $15. Well, it could have been worse. At least we didn't earn any EXP due to Suzy sending round flying. Plus, we even earned $15 in the process, so I guess it's something, thought Naruto as something tells him from now on, he's gonna have to warn other enemies they encounter just to avoid from getting attacked by Suzy, which he'll be keeping it in mind. Anyway, he sees a sign that was not there before as he went over to read it. He. I sneaked by and made a sign. Signed, Lancer. Naruto just stared at the sign after reading it and without a word, just headed towards the door with Ralsei and Suzy following behind him because he's not even going to bother wondering how. As they entered through the door which they exit the puzzle room, he heard Ralsei speaking to Suzy. Susie, I suppose you missed what I said earlier. As heroes, we have the power to make a peaceful future. So, from now on, let's try to avoid fighting, okay? Susie didn't say a word, which made Rousey feel a bit nervous, but continued, what if you just took it easy on them? If you weaken an enemy, I can use my pacify spell, which can put exhausted people to sleep. Yawn. Yeah, you talking is already doing that, Susie yawned. Well, just think about it, said Rousey, which she quickly went over to Naruto and whispered to him, we might have to warn enemies about her, Naruto. He replied with his own whisper, don't worry, I already plan on doing that anyway. She won't listen even if you ask her to. It's best we have to warn our enemies to avoid Susie's brutal attacks. Rousey nodded as she understood his plan. They entered through a new area, which there was a blue puzzle piece wearing a black beanie hat and a shop. Naruto ignored both temporarily as he walked to the right side of the shop, which he sees a save point as he interacts with it, and this time, a message pop up. Susie, the violent tormentor, is now your ally. The power of mean girls shines within you. Save. Yes/no. Seriously? If anything, what shines within me is my burning dislike for Susie. Whatever, let me just save right now. Naruto immediately saves his save file, which told him they're now at Field Seam's shop. Seam's shop. I guess that's the name of that shop next to us. I suppose we could stock up some items to prepare ourselves while seeing if I can acquire information like how I did in the underground. Unbeknownst to him, Susie was watching Naruto as he leads them to the right side of the shop, and suddenly, he lifted his hand and touched the wall for some reason. Then strangely, she felt her tiredness being washed away but couldn't understand why. That's weird. Suddenly I don't feel tired anymore after Naruto oddly touched the hull. Did he do something? Thought Susie as she couldn't explain what it is that Naruto is doing that's making him look like he's just touching nothing but air, as if there's something to begin with which there isn't. Susie shook her head as she decided not to question what happened, as she couldn't bother to care about it as the trio walked into the shop. Welcome, travelers. They were greeted by a stuffed toy cat with a bluish-purple face, brown clothing and a fuzzy, orange scarf or ruff around its neck. The cat's nose is half a triangle, and on the top of his head lies a black patch that looks sewn on. His left eye socket is empty and almost closed, and the right one entirely replaced with a button which from beneath it runs a scar. Hey, how's it going? So, do you mind if I ask you some questions? Asked Naruto as he's intending to learn some info about him and outside of this world before purchasing anything this guy has. Knock yourself out. Don't have anything better to do, said the fuzzy stuffed toy cat, since he doesn't mind chatting a bit if that's what the traveler wanted. Great. Well, for starters, tell me about yourself if you don't mind. The name Seam. Pronounced Sham. And this is my little Seep. Ha 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 ha. Over the years, I've collected odds and ends. Course, I've no attachment to any of it. It's just a hobby of mine. Around here, you learn to find ways to pass the time or go mad like everyone else, said the now named Seam as he introduced himself and his business as a shopkeeper of being a collector. However, Naruto raised an eyebrow at that last bit about everyone going mad, which made him wonder what he meant by that. He decided to shelve that bit of info for later and decided to ask another question. Thanks for telling us about yourself. Now, do you have any information about Lightners? So far, we only heard about it from a legend, and I was even being called one as such. Long age, the Darkners lived in harmony with the Lightners. They were like gods to us. Our protectors. Our creators. Those who gave us purpose. He smiled. Then, one day we were all locked away in this prison and the Lightners never returned. Embittered, the king took up arms, aims to take revenge upon the Lightners that left us behind. Course, even among his troops, some still distantly hope the Lightners will return. Seam finished telling him about what he knows about the Lightners, which Naruto was quite surprised by this info. So, these Lightners were like their saviors and they suddenly just left. What made them decided to lock the Darkners away? Or better yet, what even happened to them is the better question. Where did they go? thought Naruto. He wondered what was the Lightner's motive in all of this. To be honest, hearing this sounded very similar to how the humans sealed away the monsters in the underground during the war long ago. Only difference is that there was a reason back then, but this one it feels like there's got to be a reason, a point for them imprisoning them. If not, then what right did they have for doing this if they were their protectors that gave the Darkners purpose in life? Alright then, what can you tell us about this world's kingdom? It must have a history, right? Asked Naruto out of curiosity, which Seam nodded as he answered. Historically, this land was ruled by the 4 kings, from Card Castle to the east. But recently, a strange knight appeared and 3 of the kings were locked away. The remaining king put him and his strange son into power. This land hasn't seen this much chaos since. He stopped, his mouth opened with surprise. Ha ha ha, well, you don't need to know about that. Naruto was raising his eyebrow at that, as well as a few things Seam has mentioned. Okay, I don't know what he meant by that last part, but it definitely raises a few questions. However, I'm more focused on what he just told us. Mainly, the 4 kings and this strange knight he mentioned. I don't know who this strange knight is, but something tells me this knight is responsible for having the 3 kings locked away, which meant he or she is not friendly. As for the remaining king and his strange son, as Seam put it, I have this odd suspicion that he could possibly be referring to Lancer, and I don't know why, but he does act strangely, so perhaps it's a hint to it. However, I don't know who's the king, but he could be Lancer's father if he's the only one remaining that's ruling this land, thought Naruto as he comes up with ideas and theories from all this information he was given. He has some suspicions, but he doesn't know until he confirms it himself or proven his theory. Nonetheless, he'll figure them out later, as he shelved it for later. Naruto was considering of telling Seam that he, Ralsei and Suzy are the legendary heroes that'll seal the Dark Fountain to save this world, but something tells him he wouldn't believe it, and he wouldn't blame him for not believing it. He decided to go for it to see how it'll play out while seeing his reaction. Alright, thanks for all the information you've given us. Just one last question, what would you say if I were to tell you that we are the legendary heroes that are here to save this world? Asked Naruto as he waits for Seam's unconvinced reaction. Of course, Seam didn't take it and laughed at this, just as he suspected. Ha ha ha, so, you are the heroes who are going to seal our fountain. Ha, good luck. It makes no difference to me. Neither light nor dark hold a future for a Darkner in my condition, said Seam as he didn't believe it nor didn't care about it. Naruto was fully aware he wouldn't believe it, so he knew better, but it was worth a shot. He felt a hand on his right shoulder as he looked over to see who it is, which belonged to Ralsei, as she's attempting to comfort him even though he's not upset about it or bothered that Seam didn't believe him. Suzy doesn't look like she cares, as she doesn't feel indifferent about it, which doesn't surprise him in the slightest. Naruto accepted Ralsei's gesture, but he waved his hand telling her that he's fine, which she reluctantly nodded and removed her hand as Naruto focused back on Seam. I already knew you wouldn't believe it, so I don't expect you to actually took my word, but nonetheless, thanks for the info, said Naruto, thanking him, which the shopkeeper said. Sure, it's no problem, traveler. So, is that all you're here for, or you're gonna buy something here? Yes, I would like to see what you got in store here. Alright, what do you like to buy? Naruto was browsing at the items carefully. Dark candy, $40. Dark burger, $70. Amber card, $100. Spooky sword, $200. Naruto was planning over what to buy because as of right now, he currently has $370 at the moment. He already has 3 dark candies stored away, so there's no need for getting more. He inspects the dark burger, which it's a mysterious hamburger that's similar to a regular burger but in their world's version, as it heals 70 HP, kinda like with the Underground's glam burger in comparison. He inspects the amber card, which is a defensive charm for armor for its stats, is good for both Ralsei and Suzy but not for himself. And lastly is the spooky sword, which is a black and orange weapon that it's mainly used for himself. Take your time, ain't like it's better spent, said Seam as he's clearly waiting on him to decide. Naruto made up his mind and he requested his choice as he asked, alright, I'll take 1 amber card and 1 dark burger please. Okay, that'll be $170 dark dollars. Naruto pulled out his wallet which contained dark dollars that magically appeared in there, which he took out $170, just as what Seam requested. Naruto gave Seam $170, which he accepted it and received the items he purchased. He looked at Suzy for a bit as if he's debating, then finally with reluctance, he gave a Suzy amber card. She took it, but Naruto couldn't tell what she's thinking after receiving an item from him. She stared at it for a bit and just put it in her pocket without a word, which is as far he'll get from her. While he dislikes Suzy a great deal, but he doesn't want her to die, which is why he was kind enough to give Suzy a bit of armor, since Rousei already has armor due to the white ribbon, but she'll need it more than he does. Anyways, after receiving the items and storing away the dark burger after giving Suzy the amber card, Naruto looked at Seam and said, "Okay, that's pretty much it. Thanks for the information and the items." The shopkeeper bid them farewell, "See you again or not." Ha 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 ha. The trio exited the shop after getting some items, while Naruto acquired information he'll have to ponder about later. Naruto was planning to leave the area to continue on their journey until the three heard someone calling out Naruto's attention, which happened to be that blue puzzle piece guy with the hat. Hey kid, you wanna buy a tutorial? It's only $50 dark dollars. Naruto raised an eyebrow at this, as the way he spoke to him like that gave him the impression of a shady dealer. Nonetheless, he's already been tutored by Rousei, but he supposed this wouldn't hurt to give it a shot, even though he doesn't necessarily need it. Sure, why not? I'll give this a shot if it'll help us out in the long run, said Naruto while shrugging his shoulders as he pulls out $50 dark dollars to hand out to the blue puzzle guy. Really? You'll really buy it, said the puzzle guy out of shock, since he's surprised the traveler is willing to pay him. Naruto was confused by the blue puzzle guy's reaction as he slowly nodded that he is indeed paying him $50 dark dollars just as he wanted. The puzzle guy was shocked for a bit before composing himself in his shady-like behavior as he said, he right this way, gentleners. He beckoned them to follow him as Naruto was wondering what was the puzzle guy's behavior all about. He looked over to both Rousei and Suzy as he asked, "What do you guys think? Should we follow him to see what his tutorial is all about?" While he was curious to know what Rousei's input would be, he honestly doesn't want to know what's Suzy's opinion on this. Despite he preferred Rousei's opinion over Suzy, something tells him Suzy would probably say something rude or just don't care in general, but for the like of him, he just want to get it out of the way if she held her tongue of her not saying anything, since she surprisingly didn't say a word for a while now after entering Seam's shop. "I think we should. Perhaps it'll help us in some ways that aren't aware of, just a reminder of sorts," said Rousei happily with optimism. "I don't care what you losers do, just hurry up and move this along so we can leave already. It's bad enough I'm having to be stick with you nerds just so I can leave this place," said Suzy as she doesn't care and wants to leave already. Naruto just frowned while rolling his eyes at this, since he already expected her response from a mile away, but at least he's happy to hear what Rousei's opinion would be. Plus, he already paid for it, so there's no going back from this. Naruto, Rousei, and the reluctant Suzy went to follow the blue puzzle piece guy, which led to a room where 4 puzzle pieces are there with the blue one who's just like him as he's standing next to the hole where a sign is placed at. "We're sorry. We're normally puzzle guys, but we've been forced to do tutorials just to make ends meet. When the king got power, he fired everyone and replaced all puzzle makers with him. Ruzzle's card, Lord of the Puzzles, be careful," said the blue puzzle guy as he's felt obligated to let them know of their situation and who's in charge of puzzles after they got fired from the king. Naruto was intrigued by this information about him learning someone named Ruzzle's card who's a lord of puzzles, which means he'll probably will cross paths with this guy soon at some point later on. He kept this warning in mind as he said, "I see, thanks for the heads up. We'll keep it in mind should we encounter him down the line." Naruto went over to the 4 different colored puzzle guys as he's starting off with the red puzzle guy to see what he knows. "I'm TPMSTR. Ask me about TPs, said the red puzzle guy as Naruto was thinking about what he'll ask. He already knows what TP is and how to gain it through encounters thanks to Rousei's tutorial. Despite that, he guesses it wouldn't hurt to ask again in their version of it compared to Rousei's version. "What's TP in your version?" "TP? What's TP?" "That's what lets you cast spells, see." When you see that orange bar, cast some spells when it's filled up far. TP. It's quite a caper. TP. Stands for toilet paper. Naruto raised his eyebrow at that while Suzy just smirked at what she heard as she almost chuckled. Ralsei decided to correct him as what TPMSTR said was wrong for what it stands for. No, it stands for tension points. TPMSTR looked surprised in hearing this. What, really? Alright, so far TPMSTR was accurate for the most part up until what it actually stands for was wrong. Naruto ended up asking another question. So, what's your way of gaining TP? TPMSTR replied, you get TP when you defend. Protect yourself, then cast spells, friend. You also get TP by getting close to bullets. Look for the heart outline when you get close to bullets. Suzy then decided to speak up. You rhymed bullets with bullets. Because it's important. Naruto was fine with this as it wasn't far off from what Ralsei explained to him, so I suppose this was fine. Now the last thing that comes to mind is what's the secret behind TP? What's the secret behind TP? Asked Naruto out of curiosity, which TPMSTR answered him. TP only lasts inside a fight. Once you win, it's out of sight. Having extra feels unbearable. No point in saving, it's straight up terrible. However, Ralsei interjects as she corrects him, but leftover TP turns into extra money at the end of battle. TPMSTR was shocked at hearing this. You mean I only showed up in using one square? Naruto was surprised to learn he can earn extra money through leftover TP. Now that's something he was not told about it, and definitely keep that in mind. Anyways, he went to the orange puzzle guy wearing a beanie hat next as he introducing himself. I'm the Ralsei MSTR. Ask me about Ralsei's. Naruto was currently thinking what he could ask, unaware Ralsei feels a bit uncomfortable by this, especially the orange puzzle guy claimed to be her MSTR. Naruto already knows she can pacify enemies when they're tired, however he doesn't know what else she can do. Even so, he'll still ask about it to see what he knows in his own version compared to Ralsei's own version. Got anything you know about her pacify? Spell. Ralsei's spell's called pacify. Use it on babies, before they cry. Naruto was unsure what to make of that answer he was given, as he feels that's entirely wrong. Ralsei was even more confused than Naruto as she corrects the orange puzzle guy. What? It safely removes a tired enemy from combat. What if you're fighting a baby? Naruto just shook his head at this as it was entirely wrong, but that's just his way of how Ralsei's pacify spell works. Anyway, he moves on to his next question, which he was curious about. Does Ralsei know a healing spell? The orange puzzle guy nodded as he replied, Ralsei has a spell that heals, dude. Why use that, when you can eat food? Naruto felt he might have gotten that backwards, as a healing spell is more a better option than wasting your money to restock healing food items. Ralsei interjects as she answers for the orange puzzle guy, because you won't have to use up an item. That only made the orange puzzle guy realize something as he said, I could have avoided all those empty calories. Interesting, so Ralsei has a healing spell. She definitely fits the role of a healer, and it'll definitely help us in the long run. Now that he asked those questions, the only thing he can think of is her facts, which he went for it. What are Ralsei's facts, please? Asked Naruto, still unaware that Ralsei and surprisingly even Suzy was shocked at him asking that question. Ralsei loves when you give us money. She will hug you, and call you honey, said the orange puzzle guy. Of course, Ralsei angrily in a cute way voiced out, hey, that's not true. You don't need money to get me to do that. Naruto just looked at her from hearing that as he was tempted to bluntly say, do it. I'll definitely keep that in mind, thought Naruto, he'll definitely plan on hugging her later down the line. Anyway, he moves on to the next one, which is the yellow puzzle guy that's wearing two beanie hats to see what he is. I'm Suzy MSTR. Ask me about Suzy's. Hearing this caught Suzy's attention as she stared at the yellow puzzle guy as if telling him to not say anything, while silently glaring at Naruto's back as she doesn't want him to ask something she may or may not like. Then again, it's not like this yellow puzzle guy knows anything about her, so she should be fine, but still. Got anything about warning Suzy? Asked Naruto, despite he already knows, but he was curious how long him warning about her will last, or anything, unaware that Suzy was glaring at him from hearing that. When Naruto uses warning, Suzy can't hit. So, make sure to dash. The yellow puzzle guy was cut off by Suzy with her ominous grin, so there's no reason to use it. Of course, the yellow puzzle guy was nervous as he tried to continue, unless you wanted not to hurt dash, which again was cut off by Suzy, but this time, she was giving the yellow puzzle guy a savage look. So, there's no reason, said Suzy, as the last thing this guy tells Naruto is to prevent her from attacking enemies which they are meant to be attacked. Naruto wasn't surprised by this, but he supposes this somewhat helps despite he got the gist of it. He asked his next question. What are Suzy's facts, if you don't mind, of course, that got Suzy staring at him as if she wanted to drill her glare at the back of his head, as if looks can kill. Suzy loves it when you give us money. She will dash. He was cut off by Suzy as she said. Nope, don't care, which made the yellow puzzle guy ask. Did I say something funny? Naruto just wanted to move along as he can practically feel that Suzy hates this and himself more, which is not a surprise, but he asked his next question. What do you know about Suzy's attack? That caught Suzy's attention, as this time, she's actually interested in hearing what the yellow puzzle guy has to say to this in mild interest. Suzy always attacks, the foe on top. She'll smash them, with a crushing chop. She always strikes at the first thing she sees. As soon as he trails off his sentence, he sees Suzy staring at him with a grin on her face after hearing this, which made him terrified. Oh no, oh no. She's looking at me. Naruto will keep this info in mind to make sure she's not doing any of her attacks by warning enemies to prevent her from causing harm. Now, Naruto wasn't sure if he wants to move on to the last puzzle guy, which is the pink one with 3 beanie hats, as he has a feeling it's gonna be about him. After some brief thought, he decided to get it over with as he went over to him. I'm Naruto's MSTR. Ask me about Naruto's. Naruto asked, can I help my fallen friends with reviving? When HP goes negative, your friends fall down. But bringing them back, is easy town. Plain foods and spells, work like a charm. And with a mint, you can cure all harm. Ralsei added in her 2 cents in this, even normal items and spells can revive people, huh? The pink puzzle guy agrees, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Naruto was pleased with this info as it seems accurate from what he knows, so this is fine. Next, he asked another question, what do you know about my acting? If you only act, you might start to think, what about the girl with the scarf in pink? Ralsei answered, if you know acting will make the enemy friendly, then you can ask me to spare on the same turn. Or, cast pacify if you know they'll get tired. If you plan ahead, a lot can happen in one turn. Hey, who's the MSTR here, me or you? Asked the pink puzzle guy, feeling like Ralsei is stealing his spotlight. Naruto just smiled at Ralsei with a nod while Suzy was just watching without a care. Lastly, he asks his final question. Know any facts about me? It's a good idea, to give us bucks. It'll make you happy, and fill you with lucks. Over there, is our donation hole. We had a box, but it got stole. After hearing this, Naruto looks over and walks over to the sign near the hole as he reads it. Hole goals. $1, monthly tutorial, weekly. $10, weekly tutorial, monthly. $100, stop making tutorials. Naruto walked to the hole as a message popped up as soon as he interacts with it. Donation hole, if you like our tutorials, please throw your money into a hole. Throw $1 per do not. Naruto throws in $1 in the hole, which it became full, as it somehow filled to the brim with cash. He went over to the blue puzzle guy as he told him, your tutorial was insightful to say the least. So, I donated $1 in your donation hole of yours. Thank you very much. At least someone appreciate us unlike our ruler. The king didn't even give us severance pay, his son just gave us all beanies, itchy beanies, said the blue puzzle guy. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but hopefully some good will come your way at some point. Anyway, we need to get going now, so later guys, the colored puzzle guys waving them goodbye as the trio left the area. After Naruto went to the save point to save his save file real quick, they left the area, which they come across a door in the middle of a clearing, which confused Naruto a bit by this. Not gonna question why there's a door there, but something tells me it'll be used later on. The trio kept going while walking past the strange door without question. They encountered Lancer, who then took notice of them being here as he gave them a goofy smile with his tongue out. Well, flip my flapjacks. The clowns are back in town, said Lancer, greeting them. Well, bad news. Since you last saw me several minutes ago, I've created a brand new fighting team ready to stop you. Not even the purple girl can stop me now. He laughed, looking at Suzy. Ho ho ho. Are you ready to be? Stop. Stop talking, Suzy interrupted Lancer, looking at him with a disappointed face. Ho ho ho. What is that? Why are you saying that? Ho ho ho. It's my evil laugh. Scary, right? He smiled. You sound like baby Santa Claus, Suzy joked. You mean, like, in a badass way? Shut up, Suzy started walking to Lancer and pushed both Ralsei and Naruto aside to reach him. You really think you know how to be scary? Suzy asked Lancer. Naruto looked at Ralsei, who wasn't liking where this is going. Lancer tried to give an answer. Wrong. Man, wannabe tough guys like you really pisses me off, she told Lancer. Face it. You wouldn't know scary if it picked you up and bit your face off. She walked closer. Suzy, you better not be doing what I think you're gonna do. Naruto narrows his eyes at Suzy. The atmosphere was getting tenser and tenser. He doesn't know if Suzy was really going to do that, but he was cautious nonetheless if she's planning to go through with her threat. That's not true, Lancer spoke, frightened by Suzy. He looked upset by Suzy's words. Oh, really? She dashed to Lancer. He tried to back away, but Suzy grabbed him before he even had a chance. Then why don't we prove it? She insisted and lifted Lancer in the air. We'll start with the part where your face gets bit off. Ha 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 ha. The purple monster started laughing uncontrollably with Lancer's unhappy face. Naruto was slowly reaching for his Sakabato as his left eye was beginning to glow and starting to flicker out of anger as she wasn't bluffing. He glanced at Ralsei, who looked worried and concerned by what Suzy is about to do, which he couldn't blame her for being afraid given that Suzy is a brute that enjoys inflicting pain on others. As Naruto watched as Suzy looked at Lancer one last time before deciding to bite him, while Naruto was milliseconds away from intervening. Oh, okay. I get it. Thank you, purple girl. Lancer thanked Suzy for her action. What? Was the only response she gave out as she initially stopped what she was doing, as she, along with Naruto, who was just about to subdue her, and Ralsei, are confused why he's suddenly thanking Suzy. Thanks. It was kind of you. To teach me how to be scary. With an evil laugh. Suzy doesn't know what to make of this, as she was surprised by Lancer thanking her, thinking she was teaching him how to be scary, which isn't the case, and she wasn't joking when she said she was gonna bite his face off. Hey, I wasn't. And now. He released himself, and a small team of purple darkner puzzle pieces came identical to the ones Naruto and Ralsei met back at the Maze of Death and similar to the multicolored ones back at Near Sean's shop. You're going to be thrashed. Ha 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 ha. Merry Christmas. He ran off. Naruto looked at Ralsei, who was confused as he was. Even Suzy seemed confused with that last part. I guess that's kind of an improvement, she murmured to herself as the enemies grouped and surrounded them as the battle sequence started. A board of jigsaws blocked the way. So that's what they're called. Alright, and I take it the multicolored ones with beanie hats we met are in the same category as them. Good to know. Now, normally I would check to see their stats first, but given that Suzy is with us and what she almost attempted to bite Lancer's face off, I'm definitely starting with warning them to watch out Suzy since she attacks without care and doesn't listen. Plus, at this point, I don't think it's necessary considering its stats is probably low like the rest we've encountered thus far, thought Naruto, knowing that she wouldn't follow both him and Rousei's lead and just do whatever she wants, which is to attack enemies. Naruto went over ACT, selected the first Jiraiya and proceeded to press the warning button as he and Rousei warned the enemies about Suzy, which they went on guard. Suzy attacked one of them, but it ended up a miss, which made Suzy annoyed by this because of both Naruto and Rousei warning them about her. P. Put up your D-dukes, Bubbo. H. Hurting people is cool. F. Fighting. I love fighting. The three Jigsaws have targeted both Naruto and Suzy as they get attacked by their jigsaw pieces. They summoned in a parallel each other outside of both Naruto and Suzy. After a short delay, they fly towards each other, which the both of them move and dodge out of the way as they connect each other, which ended their attack. Jiraiya thought of its boss and felt afraid. Naruto went to act and selected one of the Jiraiya, and this time, without Suzy ruining things in the way, he went to befriend option while having Rousei spare the first Jiraiya, assuming him befriending them will affect the three of them. Naruto barely lifted a finger, and "Of course, I'll be your friend," said the Jiraiya as the three of them is definitely befriended by Naruto despite he didn't do anything to convince them, but he'll take it, he guess. Rousei managed to spare one Jiraiya, which only leaves two of them left to spare in their next turn. Suzy didn't like how they're being friendly towards our enemies, especially they even spare one of them. She just rolls her eyes at those two idiots trying to ignore them making friends with the enemy as she's attempting to attack them, which again, it was a miss, which she growled at this. Well, if we have to be friends. I always wanted a friend just like you. We're friends now, la la. This time, they're targeting both Rousei and Suzy as they did the exact same attack on them, which Rousei was able to dodge and avoid those attacks from getting hit. Same goes for Suzy, but she almost got hit weren't not for her slide of luck that she managed to narrowly escape after the attack ended. Jiraiya is wishing it could quit its job. Naruto went over to the spare button and selected on one of them while doing the same with Rousei, which the both of them spare the last two Jiraiya, which they successfully spared the enemies without Suzy harming them, which only made her glaring at them for not allowing her to hurt those enemies, but only just scoffed at this as if she doesn't care she was just denied from fighting them. You won. Got 0 EXP and $68. Unbelievable. You nerds really are trying to be all buddy-buddy with our enemies. Don't you understand we're supposed to fight them? Or are you losers just too scared to hurt them? Asked Suzy, who was annoyed with the results while at the same time being livid that she wasn't able to land a single hit thanks to both Naruto and Rousei warning them beforehand. I don't know about Rousei, but I'm not afraid to fight back, I just don't want to resort to violence if necessary. We're not here to cause trouble or harm to others even though they're our enemies. There's always a way to resolve these issues without the need to fight if possible. You should try it sometime as it'll benefit you in the long run, said Naruto calmly, giving out his reasons. Suzy however retorted, and become a pacifist tree hugger like you too? Nah, I rather bash their heads in as it's more fun that way. Naruto shook his head in disappointment, and that right there is the reason why you'll always be alone with no friends, because all you know is how to be a bully to everyone around you. Suzy just glared at him before scoffing, like I care about your opinion. Naruto replied with a frown, I know you don't. You only care about yourself, nothing more. Nothing less. Not everything revolves around you, you know. Whatever nerd, are you done now so we can go or what? I don't want to hear your boring lecture nobody asked for. Naruto was just holding back his rage as he was balling his fist out of anger. However, he took a deep breath to calm himself down as he simply said, you know what, yeah, I'm done. I'm not gonna bother wasting my breath on you who clearly doesn't value others but yourself. You're beyond reason with and probably a lost cause. So yeah, we're done. Naruto then walked ahead as he simply said, let's go, and with that, he took off. Suzy just watched him walk away, which she rolled her eyes without care as she just follows him. Ralsei was watching the two of them at how they interacted with each other as she shone a downcast frown, taking notice that they clearly don't like each other. Naruto is trying his hardest to show her that violence isn't always the answer, but Suzy begs to differ and chooses to do whatever she wants while not accepting her destiny as a hero, unlike Naruto. She hopes that eventually they'll get along soon, otherwise she fears the party will break apart if nothing is fixed soon. "Hey Ralsei. Are you coming or what?" She heard Naruto calling out to her, which she replies. Oh. I'm coming." She runs over to them to catch up as she doesn't want to get left behind while keeping her thoughts to herself and debating on whether should she talk to Suzy again later or not about her issues, which she'll think about it later. Anyway, the trio arrived at the gate where there's another puzzle with 2 boxes for them to solve in order to proceed through the gate, it would seem. "Oh, look, Naruto. Another puzzle." Ralsei called me as she took notice of this. Suzy groaned at hearing about another puzzle. "Oh no. Let's read the instructions." She walked to the sign on the fence, but it was vandalized. The instructions are vandalized. It says, "Thoust fools, thou will never figure it out now." Ruining instructions, that's definitely against the rules. She said as she's mad at the vandalizer. Then it, says, "P.S. I make my own rules." RK. Suzy smiles as she said, "Well, that explains that." She ran to the other side of the fence. "Why don't we just climb over this spiked fence?" She asked like it was a normal thing to do and not dangerous. Because then we'd get impaled and die." Ralsei stated the obvious. "Cool, I'll work on that and you do the puzzle." Try your best, Naruto." Ralsei cheered. Naruto just looked at Suzy, inspecting her work as she implied. She was just standing on the fence waiting for something. "Don't look at me, Naruto. Puzzles are your job. Along with everything else I don't want to do," she smiled. Lazy as lizard, Naruto thought scornfully at her refusal to even try. Naruto only shook his head at her in pure disappointment as he focused on doing his thing, which is solving this puzzle. As he got a good look at it, this puzzle looks very simple and straightforward. He deduces that he needs to move these 2 boxes onto the rock plates in order to complete this puzzle. He decided to go for it and assume it's the case. He decided to try the left box first and just move it towards the left side rock plate, which he completed the left so far. "Great job, Naruto. I think you're on to something," said Ralsei, encouraging him. "Hey Naruto, give up whenever you feel like it. It's all good," the monster pointed to the fence while giving Naruto her mocking smirk. "And give you the satisfaction of seeing me fail? Not a chance, I don't give up that easily. Especially to those who doesn't bother to at least try, like you, which is quite pathetic," said Naruto, giving his own mocking smirk just to give her a taste of her own medicine. Of course, her smirk turned into a scowl after hearing that from Naruto, which she can only growl at him from that remark. "Growling, you little smart ass. Why thank you, I'll take that as a compliment." That only infuriated her further, which made Naruto smile out of victory of shutting her up before resuming back on the puzzle. Ralsei wisely chooses to stay out of this since she doesn't want to get caught in their crossfire while just waiting patiently for Naruto to complete the puzzle without issue. Anyway, seeing he already completed the left side of the puzzle, he did the same thing for the right side, and once he completed the puzzle, the gate opened up, showing them that they can now proceed through the gate. "Whoa, you did it, Naruto. Great job." Ralsei cheered, congratulating him. "DMN, didn't get to impale myself," Suzy murmured to herself. Naruto just looked at her after hearing that, as in his mind, "You didn't do anything at all." He stared at her in disbelief, probably for more than 10 seconds from hearing the nonsense that came out of Suzy's dinosaur-like mouth. She noticed and gave him the look as she asked, "What are you looking at, freak?" "A disappointment is all I'm looking at here." Suzy just glared at him with hate as if she wanted to retort back as she's balling her fists, but decided it's not worth it to simply waste her breath onto this loser. "Whatever, nerd." She then looked at the gate entrance as she said next, "Oh well. Come on, chumps," and then she ran off, leaving both Naruto and Ralsei behind. Good job, Naruto. Ralsei then walked off too to catch up to Suzy, which Naruto followed suit. As the trio entered the gate entrance beyond the puzzle, the section divided into two paths. Naruto investigates the upper path where there's a strange pillar, and from there, he finds a sign with another puzzle. He goes over and reads it. From the bottom, the order of our rooms in Card Castle. Of course, if you haven't been there, you won't know it. After reading that sign, he went over to the puzzle as he looking over it. This puzzle is based on cards which shows two different card symbols, which is, a black club and a red diamond. Naruto has no idea how he can do this one, as the sign states that if they haven't been in the card castle, then they won't know it. Plus, the puzzle has too many possibilities to do it randomly, and in order to do this, they need to reach to the card castle, which must have a clue for this. Until then, he can't solve this puzzle until later, so he'll have to come back to this later at some point. Naruto told his teammates they're going to take the other path since this one requires some sort of clue that they need to get to the card castle later. Ralsei understands while Suzy feels indifferent and doesn't care, but listens anyway if it means leaving this place faster than most. The trio turned back and went to the other path where there's another pillar and a patrol of two Rudens and a Hathi there, hanging. Hathi, who was eating a dark candy, spotted us as it dropped its dark candy and warned the others. They ran towards us, which ignited their battle sequence against us. Various guys appeared. Naruto already knows how he and Ralsei can beat them, it's just Suzy who will attack them without restraint is the issue. So he immediately went to ACT and selected one of the Rudens and wasted no time warning their enemies about Suzy, which they went on guard for it. Suzy was not happy about both Naruto and Ralsei warning the enemies again about her, and it didn't help that once she attacked one of the Rudens, it was a miss which made her angry. "Are you kidding me right now?" said Suzy angrily at Naruto and Ralsei, which he said, "Does it look like we're kidding to you? Because I can assure you, we're not." Suzy just growled at him for this as she was slowly losing her temper at not being able to attack the enemy without those two nerds interfering with warning the enemies about her. "Face my diamond cutter. Heart shape showing its sharp teeth. Shine, shine." Suzy remained focused on the enemies with an annoyed expression after hearing the enemies talk as she and Ralsei are being targeted by them, which they're getting ready for their attacks. They were surrounded by Hathi's summoned hearts as the Rudens firing their diamond attack on Suzy and Ralsei. They dodged them without issue while Suzy uses her axe to knock them away and cut some of the diamond attacks in half after the attack ended. Hathi is whispering a lovely spell. Naruto went to act and selected the first Ruden to convince it while having Ralsei spare the Ruden afterwards. Naruto convinced the Ruden to quit fighting, which it was utterly swayed by his words, then Ralsei spared it, which only leads both Hathi and the last Ruden afterwards. Suzy tried to attack Hathi, but like previously, it was a miss, which is making her frustrated at not landing a single hit. Heart shape showing its sharp teeth again. Long live the guy who pays us. Now both Naruto and Suzy are being targeted by Hathi and Ruden as they're preparing themselves for their enemy's attack. They repeated their same attack as both Naruto and Suzy were dodging and avoiding their attack without fail. However, as one of Ruden's diamond attacks were heading towards Naruto, which he was prepared to dodge, when he was suddenly roughly pushed by Suzy, and he ended up taking damage by one of the diamond attack, which made him lose 84 HP, but quickly recovered to use his Sakabato to block and counter most of the diamonds until the enemy's attacks ended. Hathi is whispering a lovely spell. Ralsei saw what happened as she was stunned and horrified at what Suzy just did and went over to him. "Naruto, are you okay?" She was worried for Naruto as she couldn't believe that she just watched Suzy practically sabotage him by pushing him into one of Ruden's diamond attack, which made him took damage. In other words, endangering his life. "Yeah, I'm fine. It's just small damage I took, that's all," said Naruto, telling Ralsei that he's fine after getting up, but he did turn to Suzy, glaring at her furiously, knowing what she just did, which she only just smirked at him like she didn't just push him back there without a care. "Why you? Once this battle is over, you and I are gonna have words after this, Suzy." Naruto knew that she did it on purpose just to teach him a lesson. He's not gonna let this slide once this is over, not by a long shot after what Suzy just did that just endangered his life. He focused back on the fight as he did the same routine with the other Ruden while having Rousei spare the second Ruden afterwards. Once Naruto convinced the Ruden and Rousei sparing it afterwards, all that's left is the Hathi. Suzy tried to attack Hathi which ended up a miss, but she wasn't angry about despite it still annoying that she's unable to hurt the enemy. She was happy that she at least was able to get back at Naruto due to her recent action towards him by pushing him into the enemy's attacks which ended up harming him in the end. That's definitely putting him in his place that he shouldn't mess with her, let alone talking back or roasting her then thinking he can get away with it. However, what she doesn't know is that is far from what she's thinking once this is all over. Anyway, Hathi showed its sharp teeth at Suzy since it's targeting her which she's been boxed within a large heart. As it spun around and stopped as it went left, she followed suit without getting it as the attack ended. Smells like a soft kiss. Naruto wasted no time as he went straight to act and selected flatter while having Rousei to spare Hathi afterwards. Naruto, while keeping in his rage after what has happened to him, called Hathi a sweetheart while complimenting its teeth looked like knives which it started to blush from this. Rousei then spared Hathi which was the last enemy hence concluding the end of this battle. You won. Got 0 EXP and $93. Once the battle was over, Naruto immediately went over to Suzy and out of fit of rage, he grabbed her black vest and demanded, "What the heck was that back there?" Suzy was actually surprised by Naruto grabbing her vest while Rousei was shocked at seeing Naruto angry but she couldn't blame him for it given what she saw. "Let go of me, freak!" Suzy demanded Naruto which he refused as he said, "No. You and I are gonna have words after that stunt you pulled back there. What's the big idea pushing me in the midst of battle?" "Ha!" Suzy then shows her smirk, "What? All I did was giving you some encouragement, since you losers wouldn't let me fight and all. Plus, I'm just getting back at you from your smart-ass comment back there." Naruto was glared angrily at hearing this, "So that's it. This was you, getting back at me, all because you couldn't handle the hard truth which you resorted to sabotaging me in the fight due to me speaking facts. It was only a little shove. Maybe you should watch where you're walking before tripping over yourself, loser." Naruto was beginning to lose his patience with Suzy. "You purposely put me in danger from your stunt you pulled." Suzy dismisses that as she said, "Not my problem, you're so clumsy. So go cry about it if you're gonna whine and complain about it like a crybaby." Naruto got into her face, "You think this is funny to you? Huh? You really think you can just walk over me as if nothing has happened and get away with it? No, not by a long shot. I'm not gonna let this slide after what you did." Suzy was getting annoyed who looked ready to start a fight as she said, "And what are you gonna do about it, freak?" "Nothing, that's what. I don't care if I hurt your feelings or physically hurt you in general. Maybe next time you should think twice before mouthing off to me thinking there ain't gonna be consequences. Kinda like what's gonna happen in the next few seconds if you don't let go of me," as she warns him while intimidate. Naruto's left eye started glow while flickering in an ominous flowing rage waiting to be unleashed which Suzy saw this and was actually starting to feel the pressure as she beginning to sweat from this as Naruto looked like he's about to do something, however Rousei stepped in to stop them. "Naruto! Suzy! Stop fighting with each other. Please, don't do this. We should be getting along, not fight against one another." "Naruto, what Suzy did was uncalled for but this isn't like you to get angry. Let her go please." Naruto looked at Rousei who was sad but was smiling with the hopes that he would listen to her request. Naruto then looks at Suzy who only just smirked at him in a taunting way which fueled his growing rage, but he took a deep breath. "Alright Rousei, I'll let her go but I'm only doing this for you," she smiled in appreciation. Naruto slowly lets go of Suzy but not before grabbing her again as he said this, "Make no mistake Suzy, I'm not gonna forget this stunt you pulled and I'm gonna be watching your every move from now on, got it? I'm letting you off because Rousei asked me to but no this is your last warning. Try this again and I promise you, Naruto's left eye glowing with a white fiery aura burning brightly, which shocked Ralsei as she never saw him do that. You're gonna be facing with severe consequences. Suzy was getting a little nervous at this as she wasn't expecting him to get this mad, and it actually spooked her, especially seeing that weird left eye glowing just like from before but this time up close and personal, which she's wondering how is he doing that and starting to think, does he know magic despite humans aren't capable of that anymore. After giving Suzy her warning while letting her go, she just stood them for a brief second before coming to her senses while dusting off her vest. TCH. Whatever. I'm going up ahead. Suzy quickly walks away while trying not to show her fear after what has happened. Naruto was trying to calm himself down while Ralsei walks over to check on him. Naruto. Naruto felt a bit ashamed while speaking to her. I'm sorry you had to see that. Normally I'm always friendly and usually far more composed. It's just Suzy just makes me so mad due to her causing problems and being a pain towards me. I'm trying my hardest to help her but she's ugh. Why does Suzy keeps being a JRK? Ralsei was showing concern for Naruto since she could tell that he's been holding back his anger as much as he could, but Suzy, who doesn't listen and looks down on both her and Naruto, has only been angering him every time. It's okay, Naruto. I know you're doing this for my sake and I appreciate your efforts. Maybe I should talk to her and get her to listen. Naruto shook his head in disagreement. You already tried, which she didn't care to listen. Talking to her won't change anything. Well, it won't hurt if I try. If you want to make the attempt a second time then go for it, but I can't promise you that it would change anything. I wish you the best of luck if she listens. Ralsei just smiled as she intends to talk to Suzy about her behavior later. If you don't mind me asking, what happened to your left eye? It was glowing intensely and I think I sense a hint of magic from it. Naruto looked at Ralsei for a bit, which she quickly said, if you don't want to talk about it, I'll understand. No, it's okay. I don't mind telling you. It's just that my left eye glows when I'm either in actual danger or being threatened, and it also activates when I'm angry or in battle depending how dangerous the fight is. And yes, I do possess magic from my soul. Ralsei was surprised and intrigued by this. Wow, you can use magic. That's amazing. Naruto smiles. He always seems to calm down and cheer up when with her. Yup, that's right. Anyway, we'll discuss this another time. Right now, we should catch up to Suzy before she ditches us to who knows where. Oh. Right, Naruto and Ralsei went to go catch up to Suzy while Ralsei calls out to him, Naruto? Yeah. Thanks for doing this for me. You're a wonderful friend that I could ever ask for. I only wish Suzy would be the same. Naruto only smiled as he said, no problem. Maybe she'll come around eventually if she chooses to listen, but it's a possibility. He was slightly lying to himself, but he was only helping Ralsei to reassure her. She appreciates it as she nods. They eventually entered a new area they no longer recognize anymore, as the floor was black and red along with pillars around. It didn't take long for them to catch up to Suzy, who was waiting for them near the sign as she commented, took you nerds long enough. Ralsei apologized, sorry Suzy. Whatever. Anyways, got any idea what this place is? Naruto then spoke, no, but we're definitely not at the fields anymore. This place resembles of a chess game of some sort. He took notice of the sign as he went over to it. When you step into the light, you'll return to where you were before. Naruto raised an eyebrow at that meaning but noticed up ahead that there's glowing light on the floor, which it could be referring to that. Naruto went over to it to inspect. What are you doing, Naruto? Asked Ralsei out of curiosity. I'm testing something out real quick. If that sign was telling us about us stepping on this light, it'll take us to where we were before. I want to test that out to see it's true. Naruto watched as the lights glow from top to middle to bottom in a repetitive pattern. As he stepped on the middle light, it transported him back to the beginning. Alright, guess we'll have to avoid stepping on those lights, otherwise we'll be back to square one. Follow my lead. Ralsei nodded. However, Suzy was about to say something snarky, but she immediately shut up the moment Naruto noticed her about to say something he doesn't want to hear, glaring at her coldly, which she reluctantly nodded. The trio proceeded to move forward while dodging the glowing lights on the ground. Naruto was looking around the new environment as this place is strange as it's definitely giving him chess vibes from this. Even the pillars were looking similar to that of a pawn piece the more he gets a good look of them. Unaware of the trio, one of the pillars was moving on its own and immediately run towards them after touching the ground. Naruto heard movement from behind both Rousei and Suzy as he called out, "Look out." Both of them turned around to see a moving pillar coming towards them and before you know it, they were dragged into a fight. Pawnman drew near. Pawnman huh? Alright, they definitely look like pawn pieces just without that moving black spot which I'm assuming it's their eye. Anyways, how should we deal with them? Said Naruto in thought as he went to ACT and selected one of them while warning them which they went on guard. Suzy attacked one of them but it was a miss which doesn't surprise her at this point but she's still annoyed about it though. They apparently can speak as they just targeting both Rousei and Suzy as they fired diamonds from their eye spot which Rousei and Suzy dodged without getting hit after the attack ended. Pawnman listens politely despite having no ears. Naruto went to act and selected one of the two pawnmen and just took notice of two new options he didn't look at. Lullaby by Rousei and Goodnight. He doesn't know which to choose from one of them but he decided to try out the lullaby option which involves Rousei. Naruto told her to sing her lullaby which she sang a soft and entrancing lullaby. It proves to be effective as the pawnman fell asleep and surprisingly enough, even Suzy fell asleep afterwards as it made them tired. Huh, it even made Suzy fell asleep. Interesting, said Naruto murmuring to himself as this could work to his and Rousei's advantage if Rousei's lullaby is enough to put Suzy to sleep. He'll think of this later but he will admit Rousei's lullaby was soothing to listen to. Anyways, while the pawnman is asleep, the other pawnman targeted Rousei as it fired diamonds at her which she dodged them and quickly evades them while gaining 26% TP once its attack was finished. Pawnman can't keep its eye open. Since Suzy is still asleep, Naruto was free to use spare on the sleeping pawnman while having Rousei use her magic to pacify the other pawnman. You won. Got 0 EXP and $48. Ugh, what happened? Suzy asked after waking up. You fell asleep during battle which is over by the way, said Naruto in a flat tone while watching her getting up. Anyway, let's keep moving, he moved ahead with Rousei following suit. Suzy doesn't know why she suddenly fell asleep but she thinks it might have something to do with Rousei's lullaby. She'll ponder it later, right now she just wants to leave. The trio came across another glowing lights on the ground which they dodged them again as they continued to proceed on through. It didn't take long for them to come across Lancer facing his back as he spoke. Ha ha ha, so, you've begun to cross the great board, the halfway point to our castle. Impressive. So, it's a shame, he turned to us. You won't make it a step further. 'Cause my guys are about to smash you into BLD. Lots of BLD. Splushing BLD. Very gross and bad. He laughed while took out a bucket as thunder was shot from the black and almost non-existent sky. He remained silent while the thunder lasted to make the moment scarier. Then finally, he called Suzy. Hey, purple girl, was that scarier? Why are you asking me? She asked sweating. Because you're really cool at being terrifying. I wanna be as scary as you. He said and Suzy looked behind to see if he was talking to her. She quickly walked to him. You want to be like me? She seemed surprisingly moved by his words. Yeah. He screamed. Well, that's stupid, Suzy smiled and Lancer looked at Suzy with a sad face. But, the new laugh isn't as awful. And saying you'd turn us into BLD is, cool. What the hell is up with the bucket, though? The little darkner explained, it's to put the BLD in. Oh. Yeah, I'm not, supposed to make a mess. Anyway, thanks for your feedback. I'm really feeling scary, said Lancer thanking Suzy. No problem, I guess. Haha. So are your guys gonna attack us, or? Oh. Yeah. I was so excited I forgot to bring any guys. But next time, it'll be the END for, hey, I've just been calling you guys clowns, does your team have an official name or something? He asked out of curiosity. Oh, Naruto, we should come up with a name. Ralsei was rather excited, smiling. A name didn't sound bad unless it was something stupid. No, we shouldn't, Suzy disagreed. Then it's decided. Everyone puts a name in the bucket. Everyone wrote something in a paper except for Naruto. Alright, everyone's put in their entries. Blue person with red hair, yellow stripes, you can choose. Since you look like you don't care, said Lancer, giving him to choose. Is it because I look uninterested, or is it that he assumed I don't care? Said Naruto in thought, wondering why Lancer made that assumption. He dug his hand in the bucket as he inspected it, and the first thing he sees is the crumpled paper. He instantly moves it away as he already knows who it belongs to, and whatever Suzy put in there, it's something inappropriate. Next, he sees is Lancer labeled paper. He moved it away honestly, since doesn't want to know what he put in there for our team's name. No offense to him, but it's probably something ridiculous. Lastly, he sees a piece of paper that is neatly folded, which he can assume it belongs to Ralsei, which he immediately went for it as he grabbed a neat paper out of the bucket. He opened it up to see what it says, and the legendary heroes, the herald of fun and friendship, Lancer said with an uncomfortable facial expression after Naruto showing him the name. Oh. That's mine. See, I think it's the perfect name because we're all friends that like to have a lot of fun, Ralsei confessed. To be honest, Naruto already knew that this is something Ralsei would put, but the name itself sounded like a movie or a game, but when Lancer read it like that, it sounded lame and cringe. Okay, first, geez, that's a mouthful, dude. Second, what are our enemies gonna think? That we're gonna be buddies with them? Let's change it to something short. Intimidating. Something punchy. Something badass. Suzy suggested, enjoying her moment. Like what? Ralsei asked after Suzy rejected the name. Well, for starters, how about just, the fun gang? Suzy said with hesitation. Concentrating on the fun part, there was a long silence until Lancer spoke up. It's perfect. Well, see ya, fun gang. I've got to osmose my afternoon milk. He laughed as he ran away with the bucket. When Lancer left, Naruto sees a save point appeared on the corner board, which he went over real quick to save right now as the message popped up before him. The power of the fun gang shines within you. Save. Yes/no. Naruto saves his save file while telling him the name of the place, which is the Field Great Board, despite Lancer already told there where they are. The trio proceed onward while avoiding the glowing lights from the ground. Along the way, they were traveling through a zigzag floor while come across a few pawnmen along the way, but due to both Naruto and Ralsei's experiencing in warning the enemies about Suzy and putting them to sleep along with Suzy, it was an easy victory for them, which they ended up winning with 0 EXP and $70 from it. The trio then encountered two strange Darkners while Naruto sees another save point that's between them. The first Darkner resembles a knight chess piece with a white horse's stylized head and neck, a spiky mane, a black studded collar. The second Darkner also resembles that of a bishop chess piece whose head is a diamond, and is perpetually in AZ pose. Naruto went over to the first Darkner, which he immediately took notice and spoke, "Whoa there, horsey. Pawnmen re scary, but all they're doing is following the king. Us on the board used to have our own boss, those were peaceful times. But now, even the boss has been reduced to the king's peon." Then the second spoke up. "Fear not, we, unlike the simple pawnmen, possess full faculty over our actions. I, Mr. Society, am far too intelligent to ever bow down to such a tyrant. Unless he asks me. He's very scary, you see." Naruto just raised his eyebrow as the more he hears about this king, he might not be friendly here. Kinda like Askari in the underground, except he's the exact opposite of it, as he's very friendly. "I see. What about your friend here? Does he think the same thing?" asked Naruto out of curiosity. The now named Mr. Society said, "Oh. You mean Mr. Elegance? Well, I suppose he does, unless of course the king asks him to bow down, which he kinda have to without question less he doesn't want to get punished. That goes for me too. Because again, he's very scary." Naruto nodded his head at Mr. Society. So basically, this king who rules this land is not a nice one and probably need to watch out for once they eventually reach their destination of getting to the card castle, which he assumes that's where the king resides, as well as the dark fountain itself. He'll definitely need to be ready for him once they eventually confront him. Anyway, Naruto quickly save his save file real quick through the save point, which tells him now they're at the field great board 2, which he assumes we're getting close to reach the end of the area here. Once that's all done, Naruto along with Ralsei and Suzy proceed forward, and not too long, they already encounter Lancer. "Ho ho ho, well, step on my boots. If it isn't the friendly fun gang," he said. Already our team's name sounded ridiculous the way Lancer worded it like that. Suzy really just thought it up on the spot without thinking. Naruto thought as the name Suzy came up with on the spot was dumb. He couldn't imagine this get any weirder. "You boys or girls had better turn back while you can," said Lancer, warning them. "Lancer. What is it this time?" Ralsei asked Lancer, trying to intimidate him, but she wasn't intimidating at all. "Ho ho ho, I'm simply warning you." He moved closer to them in a dramatic way. "Something extremely dangerous is lying ahead." And closer. "Ho ho ho. It's actually really inconvenient." And closer. "Ha. I can't go home at all because I'm so scared," said Lancer. Smiling but shaking at the same time. What is it?" Suzy asked Lancer. He pointed something behind him and let them pass to see what it was that's making Lancer worried. Behind him was the red checker piece known as C, round, who Suzy smashed it away earlier back at the puzzle room at the Maze of Death. "Oh, hey, little guy," Ralsei greeted it. That's what you're afraid of?" Suzy asked. She thought it would be a merciful enemy, but that. Yeah, honestly, even I'm on the same boat with Suzy, which isn't a comforting feeling to agree with her. "I find this hard to believe that is what's gotten you shaken," said Naruto, as he couldn't find it in him to believe this cute thing can be threatening at all. I mean, how could he? Just look at that adorable dog-like face. Wow, purple girl. Blue person with red hair, yellow stripes. "You two aren't scared?" asked Lancer in surprise. Not really. I can't imagine myself why I would be afraid of it," said Naruto. He couldn't understand why would Lancer be scared of something like that. Yeah, exactly. I mean, why would I be? What's it gonna do? Suzy said, challenging Lancer. Well, normally, Lancer started as he's trailed off from his sentence. The creature walked to the last part of the checkerboard and a crown suddenly appeared, fell down slowly from the sky. When it landed on top of C, Round's head as it touched it, C, Round suddenly started to get bigger and gain giant legs. Suzy watched it grow 6 times bigger and was terrified by its new size. Ralsei jumped back with a scared look on her face out of surprise and shock. Even Naruto was taken aback at this new predicament that just folded in front of them, as he didn't expect this kind of turn of events that just displayed in front of the trio. It crushes people to death, I think. Here it comes. Everyone prepared themselves for battle as they get ready for whatever this creature will throw at them when they least expected it. Naruto was unsure how he'll start off with this, but he did went to ACT and learned that instead of C, Round, its name has changed to K, Round instead, which chalked it up that it's probably because of the crown it's wearing, making it look like a king. Anyway, as he selected its name, he was given 2 new options, which are bow or deep bow alongside Ralsei. Naruto doesn't know how bowing would help in this situation, but he'll worry about that later. Right now he needs to warn K, Round about Suzy attacking it, which he did just that as he selected warning. Suzy of course was annoyed, gritting her teeth at his warning. He always warned everyone about her the first thing they encounter an enemy, and immediately warns them about her right off the bat, to the point that it's getting extremely annoying to put up with. Luckily for her, the Red King didn't seem to understand a single word. Oh great! It's incapable of understanding anything. Naruto wasn't liking the situation that he can't warn the Red King as Round doesn't understand what Naruto tells it. Suzy heard this, which only made her smirk, knowing she can finally attack an enemy freely without Naruto warning the creature since it doesn't understand anything. Heh, nice, said Suzy in thought as she attacked the Red King, which she actually hit the creature, which it took 103 damage from her axe. Naruto was displeased about this new situation, and the same goes for Ralsei, since they can't do anything to help the Red King without taking damage by Suzy since it's incapable of understanding anything. Naruto resumes focus as the Red King targets Naruto by using its legs to jump into the air above Naruto with the intention to crush him. Naruto got out of the way to avoid almost getting crushed by its feet before ending its assault. Round shuffles furiously. Naruto was coming up options on how to beat this creature without resorting to violence, unlike Suzy is doing. Then he thought up a solution. Since that creature got so big and gained legs that can crush people to death, perhaps removing the crown, it will revert Round back to its normal cute size. But the only question is, how though? That's when he remembered something on the ACT button, where he was given two choices. Bow and deep bow. Perhaps maybe, just maybe, if he and Ralsei were to bow to the Red King, if the creature could understand what they're doing, they might be able to get him to bow, which in turn loosens its crown. He doesn't know if it'll work since it's a long shot, but he's willing to try. Naruto went to the ACT button, selecting the Red King's name, and before he presses deep bow, he went over to Ralsei and said, "Ralsei, I have an idea on how we can possibly win this fight without fighting. It's a long shot, but it just might work. Follow my lead, okay?" Ralsei smiled as she nodded to him, fully trusting him with whatever plan he came up with that'll help them. What are those two idiots up to now? Suzy was mildly curious about what they're gonna do now, since warning the creature isn't an option. Plus, she overheard some bits about what Naruto said, something about a plan. Whatever it is he thought up with, it's probably gonna be stupid. And true to her thoughts, both Naruto and Ralsei bowed towards the Red King, which Suzy just smiled at their pathetic try of acting. However, that all changed when surprisingly, Round started bowing back to them, which its crown starting to loosen from it. That's it, Naruto. It's working. If we can get its crown off, it should turn back into a little guy. Ralsei told Naruto while smiling at him, seeing that his plan is working. Naruto nodded, now knowing how they'll win this fight. How did he? Whatever. I will keep attacking. Suzy couldn't believe that them bowing towards the Red King is actually working in their favor, and it's making the creature bowing back to them, which makes its crown slowly loosen. Suzy, help us bow at it. Ralsei asked Suzy for help as she came back into reality. Nah, its crown will come off when I smash this guy to the ground, she said while showing her yellow teeth. Exclamation point. Ralsei seemed taken aback by Suzy's answer. She attacked the Red King again right on the face as it took 103 damage, just like before, which she can already see some scratches on its face from her attack. Naruto was then targeted again by Round as this time, it started kicking its leg, which launches star particles at him. Naruto focused with his Sakabato held in both hands, then he swiftly deflected the incoming projectiles until it stopped attacking. The crown is 20% loose. Seeing that Naruto's plan is working, he and Ralsei resolved on repeating the routine of bowing to Round, which in turn will trick the Red King into bowing too and loosen the crown on its head. In Suzy's eyes, seeing the two bowing like retards, it makes her feel disgusted, thinking bowing is gonna work in getting that crown off the creature when they should attack to force it off. Speaking of which, she attacked Round a third time. However, something happened. This time, due to Suzy's constant attacks at the Red King, it felt stressed out and attacked. Suddenly, Round practiced self-care, which the Red King summoned a carton of almond milk out of nowhere, then it grabbed the milk with one leg and drank some of it. Once it consumed the milk, Round's HP and attack just went up as it's fully recovered to 300 HP, and it possibly could be the same for its attack increase to 300 as well. Both Naruto and Ralsei were horrified at what just transpired before them as the Red King just regained its lost HP and even increasing its attack damage, which to them, this situation has officially turned from bad to worse. Suzy, stop attacking it. You're making it stronger. Ralsei screamed after realizing the power of the creature. PSSH, and let it think I'm afraid. No way. Suzy denied her request. Nobody is thinking that you're afraid. For goodness sakes, Suzy. You need to stop. Naruto shouts at her, seeing that violence isn't fixing anything. I'll stop when it's dead. Suzy once again denies his request. Naruto just growled at her for not heeding our warning before focusing on the problem that is round. The crown is 40% loose. The acting duo that is Naruto and Ralsei continue to deep bow while she's somewhat giggling because she's kinda having fun doing this despite the situation as the Red King bowed back and its crown loosened some more. Suzy kept attacking with it, taking damage the more she assaults it. This time Ralsei is getting targeted by round as the creature jumped high above her. It started charging its stomp attack and before you know it, Ralsei got out of the way as it stomps the battleground. However, she was taken by surprise by the star particles which unfortunately inflicted 34 damage by that unexpected move and tried to get out of the way as the creature continued to try stomping on her while evading the star particles that erupted out of the ground from its stomp attacks. Before finally stopping. The crown is 60% loose. Naruto was worried for Ralsei as her HP just got cut in half by round's sudden attack and he went over to check on her. Ralsei. Buddy, are you alright? Asked Naruto out of concern. I am okay, Naruto. I just wasn't expecting that last move it did, Ralsei winces the pain but she'll live. Naruto only nodded and was thinking of using his healing items but he wants to save them for serious situations, like this. But he decided to go against it since they're somewhat halfway there to get that crown off. Still, Naruto was getting frustrated with Suzy as all her attacks is not doing anything at all. Suzy. Seriously, you need to stop. Fighting it is only gonna make things very difficult for us to survive. Just give it up. Naruto tries to talk some sense into Suzy. Like hell I give up. Giving up is for dweebs and cowards. And I ain't one of them, said Suzy in defiance. Darn it, Suzy. You're only gonna get us all killed if you keep this up. At this rate, we won't last much longer within minutes should you continue attacking carelessly. For once just listen to us and stop, said Naruto, barely keeping his anger under control but it's not doing him good at this moment given their dire situation. Ugh. Just shut the hell up and mind your own goddamn business, freak. Suzy was getting fed up with having to hear Naruto's annoying voice telling her what to do. Naruto just growled at seeing Suzy having no intention of helping. It's up to both Naruto and Ralsei to resolve this issue. He and Ralsei stick with bowing to round which it bowed while having its crown loosen yet again. Suzy attacked it with a savage blow which it took damage from it. Naruto was back to being targeted as the Red King started to jump high above him like it's flying, then star particles started to rain from its legs which Naruto got out of the way from every last one before the attack ended. The crown is 80% loose. That's it. Just bow one more time and that crown's coming off. We can do this, said Naruto mentally as the crown is almost off of the creature. Naruto along with Ralsei deep bowed one more time which the Red King bowed back as the crowns loosened. Round suddenly stopped as the crown has finally fallen off of its head due to all the constant bowing and the creature was reverted back to its normal size and just rolls away from view which tells the trio that they finally defeated the creature. You won. Got 0 EXP and $21. We did it. Suzy said, relieved that they actually won. Wow. You clowns really are heroes. You saved the next 20 minutes of my life. Lancer said happily, making his appearance. Yeah, I am pretty great, huh? Suzy said boasting of her skills. Naruto had it up to here with Suzy as he scowled at the school bully, great. Great? That doesn't even begin to describe what happened back there. You were anything but great. You've caused us nothing but trouble. We barely survived that fight weren't not for you continuously attacking it recklessly, which only made it stronger. However, Suzy rudely retorted, and you think I care about what you think? Besides, we still won, didn't we? And it was all thanks to me, you ungrateful freak. So how about you shut your pathetic mouth and whine about someone who actually cares what you say? Hearing her saying that, Naruto was rapidly losing grip of his uncontrollable fury that's just inches away from being fully unleashed on Suzy. However, before he fully loses it, Ralsei stepped in as she wanted to talk sense to Suzy. Suzy. Not wanting to downplay your contributions, but you didn't actually help at all. You only made everything worse by attacking it. If you had just acted nice to it in the first place, we could have avoided that entire battle, Ralsei told Suzy. Huh? Are you for real? That thing was bloodthirsty. The only thing keeping it at bay was my AXE. Suzy said, feeling frustrated. Naruto disagrees. Oh please, the only person that was bloodthirsty was you. Your axe didn't do much help other than making that thing stronger from you so eagerly attacking it. Suzy got angry. I didn't ask for your opinion. Naruto only rolled his eyes at her, getting heated from him speaking facts. And, earlier, you terrorized those troops, Ralsei continued. Those guys were enemies. They're for terrorizing, Suzy stating the obvious. Yeah. She's right. Lancer spoke up in support of her. Naruto only scoffed at this. As far as he's concerned, SHE's the one that's been doing the terrorizing. Although she's not wrong that they are enemies, but not everyone is meant for causing terror. Suzy heard him scoff, which she demanded, got something to say, nerd? I would say something to counter your argument, but you won't like what I might say, so I'll just settle for a scoff as of now, Naruto retorted. Suzy just growled but remained silent while Ralsei resumed, and you tried to sabotage Naruto by pushing him into an enemy's attack, putting him in danger. Suzy, who didn't care, said, PFFF. Not my fault that loser wasn't paying attention to his surroundings. Perhaps he should have watched where he was going before he tripped himself up. Naruto, however, said with a pissed-off tone. You know very well that wasn't the case. You did all that on purpose just to get back at me, as you worded, just because you couldn't handle facts I've laid on the table in front of you. Gonna cry about it? Naruto was seriously thinking of lashing out on Suzy, wanting to put that overgrown lizard in her place, but he knew better than to let his anger get the better of him, so he took a deep breath and just looked away while severely holding himself back before he does something he may or may not regret. Ralsei saw this isn't working, which she continued further. And before all that, you ate an innocent person's cake, Ralsei tried to convince Suzy. She looked at a tree, remembering it, cakes are also my enemy. Ralsei looked at her with semi-closed eyes while Naruto looked at her with a disbelief expression, as the only thing he said was, huh. That's gotta be the most pathetic excuse I've ever heard of in my entire life. I'm sure even Ralsei finds this extremely sad, thought Naruto. Suzy, whether you like it or not, you're a hero. One with the power to bring peace to the future. Could you please start acting like one? Ralsei asked with sad eyes. Suzy was silent as she looked away for a brief moment before facing Ralsei again. Yeah, when you lay it out like that, I've been a pretty bad hero, haven't I? No, you think? You just now realize that? TCH. Well, either way, her admitting she's pretty bad at her role as a hero is an understatement of the century. Naruto couldn't agree more with her being pretty bad as a hero. Suzy looked down, thinking before she spoke. Alright, Ralsei. You got it. I'll change my ways. From now on, I won't be such a rotten hero anymore. Naruto, who had his arms crossed, sported an eyebrow at this. Are you really though? I want to believe that maybe Ralsei finally got through to her to change, which is better late than never, I suppose, but something tells me she's up to something, isn't she? He wasn't sure if Suzy was convinced, but he watched and see what'll happens next. And as if right on cue, Suzy ran to Lancer as she announced. I'll just be one of the bad guys instead. I knew it. Naruto got his answer, which he knew something like this was gonna happen at some point, unfortunately, which was very disappointing. Expected but disappointing nonetheless. Ralsei, however, was in shock with Suzy's sudden change. Really? You're going to be on my team? Lancer was exploding with excitement. Yeah, sounds way easier, honestly, she affirms with a smile. Suzy, you can't just dash. Ralsei tried to tell her something. Quiet, toothpaste girl. Suzy is my comrade now. Lancer said loudly, keeping her from speaking. Ha ha ha, yeah, toothpaste girl. Suzy joined in. We're going to have monogrammed track jackets. Yeah. And sleepovers. Where we tell each other secrets. Yeah. Anyway, see you guys never, Suzy said. Ha. If you can even last that long, said Lancer as the two of them left. Naruto wasn't surprised by this turn of events, but he wasn't happy about it. He noticed Ralsei walked in front of him as if staring at what was once Suzy standing here before her, switching sides with Lancer and gone with him while abandoning her role as a hero. He can tell she was upset with what has happened, which he couldn't blame her for it, but it was to be expected. Still, feeling concerned, Naruto went over to her as he placed his hand on her shoulder out of worry. Ralsei. Naruto felt concerned for his female darkner friend. Naruto, perhaps I shouldn't have been so HRD on her. Ralsei spoke as if this was her fault that she pushed Suzy into switching positions as a villain now. Naruto shook his head in disagreement. No, you weren't HRD on her. Don't blame yourself for what just happened. You were not in the wrong. It was Suzy's own decision-making that made her change sides. It's not your fault. Ralsei was silent for a bit before answering, I know, Naruto, and I appreciate you saying that. But I just worry that if Suzy is too eager to fight, then well, let's just be kind to her, okay, Naruto? I'm sure Suzy will come around soon. Naruto wasn't sure about that because he doesn't believe that she will, even if he wants to believe that. Ralsei noticed him looking unsure, and she doesn't blame him for thinking that, since she understands why he dislikes her given what she's done. Still, she needed to try. Naruto, I understand it's hard for you to be nice to someone like her despite the rotten things she's done, and I appreciate you trying for my sake, but we must keep trying. I'm positive we'll get through to her. Do you trust me? Naruto was surprised by her asking that question, but he answered honestly. Ralsei, of course I trust you. Then trust that we'll keep reaching out to her no matter what. If we keep being nice to her, I believe we'll finally be able to change her ways. Okay. Naruto was shocked at hearing this from her, but he smiled. Okay. You got it, pal. She smiled warmly at Naruto for always staying with her side, which made her feel very happy. And so, the two entered the forest to go after Suzy while Naruto was pondering in his mind. Guess now it's just the two of us again, but can I be nice to Suzy? Naruto and Ralsei arrive at the entrance of the forest after finally leaving the Great Board. The former comes across a save point and he goes over to access it, then the usual dialogue box appears. The blocky foliage grows thick above your head, the power of the forest shines within you. Save? Yes/no. Naruto confirms his save file, which now displays their current location, which is the forest entrance that he already has the general idea of the area. After confirming his save, he noticed that Jigsaw Joe and Mr. Elegance is there while standing close to a door in the middle of a forest clearing between each other that's glowing underneath. Hang on, didn't I see a door like this one when I was at the Field of Hopes and Dreams? Maybe they know of it, thought Naruto. Then he went up to Jigsaw Joe, which he took notice of both him and Ralsei, and spoke. Hey, kid. We managed to fix up this old thingamajig for you. It's some kinda door, it can take you anywhere you want in the world. As long as that's one of two locations. Anywho, we'll keep working on it, anything to help you out, kid. Mr. Elegance also spoke. That's right. Mr. Society and the puzzle guy fixed that door. Since it was just the three of us, it should work without any issues. Anyhow, hope and it helps you deal with the king. I see, so that's what that door was for back at the Fields of Hopes and Dreams, and I guess now we can freely fast travel back there whenever we want if we missed something or to restock items at Seam's shop. Hopefully these two doors aren't the only ones we can use. Best keep an eye out for more of them as we continue on our journey just in case, thought Naruto as he gave Jigsaw Joe and Mr. Elegance a nod. We really appreciate the help, thank you. Ralsei bowed as well, thank you very much. Out of curiosity, Naruto went over to the door to see how exactly it works when a text box popped up in front of him. It's a door. Where will you go? Field. Naruto decided to select field to see what would happen. After selecting his choice of location, Naruto opened the door that was glowing brightly, then he along with Ralsei entered through the door, and before they knew it, they suddenly found themselves at the Fields of Hopes and Dreams. Well, what do you know? Looks like we have our own little warp door that can take us to other locations we have been to. This will definitely come in handy, don't you think? Naruto asked Ralsei for her opinion. It most certainly will come in handy, she said happily with a nod. Naruto smiled at this before reusing the door again with the same text box appearing before him again. It's a door. Where will you go? Field. Forest. Naruto obviously chose forest so they could return to where they originally were. He opened the door once more as the two entered it, which took them back to the forest as they were previously. Alright, now that we know what this door can do and allows us to fast travel to different locations we've been to, let's keep a lookout just in case we encounter more of them as we venture further, okay? Naruto said to Ralsei, wanting to have her keep her eyes peeled for any more warping doors they might come across through their journey. Ralsei nods with a smile, I'll definitely do just that if it helps in the long run. Seeing Ralsei understood him, Naruto refocused back on their quest, which their current objective is being nice to Suzy. This is gonna SCK, I just know it. He knew this is going to be tough for him, knowing he's been patient with her, but Suzy doesn't seem to literally care about anyone else but herself and just enjoys being a JRK, which is to be expected from a typical bully. Still, he'll continue to try to be nice to her just for Ralsei's sake, even if Suzy is a pain in the neck. Alright Ralsei, let's get this over with, Naruto said as he just wants to be done with whatever Suzy and Lancer may have planned for them. Ralsei just nods, knowing Naruto is not exactly happy with this, but hopefully things will work out once they get through to Suzy. Now with that out of the way, the two proceed with their journey as they leave the area. As the two begin walking through the pink path, Naruto notices that this place is different from the Great Board but bears similarities to the Field of Hopes and Dreams. This forest was much denser than the first one, that's for sure. When the two were passing by a thick bush, something appeared out of it and managed to grab Naruto, but he was able to break free and darted away to defend himself alongside Ralsei. Rabbit slithered in the way. Naruto took a good look at the enemy, which apparently it's called a rabbit. It appears to be a rabbit-like enemy, with a large drooling mouth, slanted eyes, long ears, and no visible limbs. Its color palette mostly consists of white fur and tinges of light blue. The enemy's body reminds Naruto clouds for some odd reason. Snapping back into focus, Naruto immediately selected ACT to see how to handle this new enemy accordingly. He came across two options, Blow On and Breath All, with the latter being in coordination with Ralsei. Naruto went with the Breath All option as both he and Ralsei started to take a deep breath and then blew air towards Rabbit, which caused it shrink it into a smaller size, and it actually appears pleased about it. A refreshing boy, said the pleased rabbit with a smile on its face as it now targets Naruto. A rabbit appeared out of nowhere and started to throw spinning carrots at Naruto from left and right. Naruto darted from side to side as he evades the incoming projectiles without issue until the rabbit eventually stopped throwing the spinning carrots in his way. Rabbit ambiently damages the soil. Naruto immediately selects the spare option, seeing that the enemy is longer as aggressive as before, while Ralsei followed his lead with the two both sparing Rabbit, ending the battle rather quickly and easily. You won. Got 0 EXP and $42. Alright. Now with that out of the way, let's get going, Naruto said as Ralsei just nodded as the two resumed walking the rest of the way until they reached the end of the pink path where Suzy and Lancer came into view. They were talking as the two came over to them, which gained their attention. Suzy. Lancer. Ralsei called out to them from behind. He. Well, if it isn't the so-called heroes. Lancer spoke. Suzy joined. Are you finally ready to see what happens when you try to act soft against a team that crushes anyone in their way? They said, completing each other's sentences. Dark Jack Lancer. Lancer called himself after Suzy stomped on the ground, making a sound to gain their attention. Violent Axe Suzy. Together we are the Dark Dollar Squad. Lancer said, putting his arm in the hair in a pose, and Suzy grabbed her axe that was on fire. Silence filled the air as Naruto doesn't know what to make of the introduction that both Lancer and Suzy just did, other than to sweat drop in disbelief. Wow, just wow. No words cannot describe how utterly ridiculous that was, especially their team name. Naruto couldn't believe this is right now happening and he hates it here. So what's your, evil plan? Ralsei just smiled at this as she clapped her hands at the introduction and asked, trying to learn more about this new duo while being polite like always. Huh? Suzy blinked in confusion. She wasn't expecting this kind of reaction, and Lancer looked down. Dude, we just formed our team. We haven't done anything past our intro yet. Have a little patience, please, said Lancer in mild disappointment. Oh, sorry, we're, looking forward to the rest. Ralsei apologized. Speak for yourself. Naruto rolls his eyes, not sharing the same sentiment as Ralsei. I mean, why would he? Nothing good would come from this when it comes to Suzy, and he should know best. Suzy grins wildly. Well, you won't have to look forward for long. Starting now we're going to work ceaselessly, Lancer said enthusiastically. Unstoppably. To make an evil plan to thrash you clowns. Watch your backs. And your fronts. They both ran off again. At least Suzy's enjoying herself and seems to get along well with Lancer, but why do I have this distinct feeling that this is gonna hurt me in the future more than just being nice, thought Naruto, asking himself this since he definitely knows this is going to hurt him in the future, all because he has to be nice and put up with Suzy's shenanigans along with Lancer, which is the least of his problems, but doesn't know how bad though. Come on Ralsei, let's just get going. I'm sure whatever it is they're planning, we'll be able to handle it, Naruto said to Ralsei, knowing he'll just have to deal with it and continue to be patient with Suzy and hope she'll have a change of heart. He can already feel a headache coming on just by thinking about it, as he doubts being nice won't get through to Suzy, but he's doing this for Ralsei's sake. That's all there is to it. Okay, said Ralsei, being the usual happy and optimist, which at least brings a smile to his face as the two resumed walking down the path where both Suzy and Lancer ran off to. The two were walking down the path as they saw two different paths ahead of them. Naruto decided that they could take the right path to see where it'll lead them. As they took a right and upward, they ended up finding a lone Rudin in the middle of the area, which took notice of them but didn't immediately attack them, much to their confusion. Noting their state of confusion, the Rudin spoke to them. Don't mind me. I'm on break. Say, help me. I need to get something for my friend Clover's birthday. Her only interests are sports, cute boys, and trees. Maybe I'll just get her a card. Both Naruto and Ralsei looked at each other for a moment before the former spoke. I see. Well, whoever this Clover friend of yours, I'm sure it shouldn't be too complicated. If your friend is interested in sports, cute boys and trees as you mentioned, then perhaps give her a basketball signed by a well-known famous sports player who's a cute boy to Clover as a start. Rudin thought about it, and it actually sounds perfect for what it needs as it smiles. Yeah, that's definitely work. I like that idea. It's perfect. Thanks, Lightner. I'll definitely go with your suggestion. Naruto smiles in response. Don't worry about it, just giving you a friendly idea to help you out on your issue. Anyways, we best get going and leave you be. Tell your friend Clover that we wish her a happy birthday, okay? Rudin beamed happily. I will. Bye Lightner, and thanks again for your suggestive help. Naruto and Ralsei waved the wooden farewell while leaving the area to where they came from to take the left path this time. As they were about to head on down to the left path, something emerged from the bush which happened to be another rabbit, but not one but two of them this time, forcing Naruto and Ralsei to defend themselves. Rabbit slithered in the way. Naruto already knows how to handle both of them, so he wasted no time going straight to act, then selecting the breath all option, which both he and Ralsei took a deep breath and blew air at both rabbits, which shrunk them down to their small-sized forms. A sweet and fresh girl. A soft and clean boy. The two very pleased rabbits decided to target Naruto as they began sending rabbits his way as they jumped in from the right, slowly moving up and down across from him in a wave pattern. Naruto studies the pattern of their movement and figured out how to avoid the trajectory of their attacks, successfully emerging unscathed. Rabbit ambiently damages the soil. Naruto, like before, selects the spare option for one of the rabbits while having Ralsei do the same for the other rabbit, ending the battle without issue. You won. Got 0 EXP and $78. Naruto and Ralsei resume what they were doing, which was going towards the left path and walking through a straight path. It didn't take long for them to find both Suzy and Lancer, who were standing near a tree stump for whatever reason. Naruto raised an eyebrow at them as a small part of him is curious to know what they're even doing, but knowing Suzy, it's probably something stupid and Lancer is going along with it. Naruto just walked towards them with Ralsei following suit, which they gained their attention as Ralsei spoke in a happy tone. How's the evil scheming going? Huh? Oh, that? We, got bored. So we're having a snack, said Suzy nonchalantly. I see. Ralsei was giving Suzy a confused look while Naruto quirks an eyebrow at her for how she quickly got bored after becoming a villain. Suzy took notice of the looks they're giving her. Come on. All I ate for breakfast was chalk. Suzy retorts. And I didn't eat anything. Lancer said with a smile while sticking his tongue out. Naruto mentally rolls his eyes at this. He doesn't know why Suzy likes eating chalk. It's not even edible and not meant to be eaten. Makes him wonder how she doesn't get sick from consuming them so much. Sorry. What are you two having, exactly? Ralsei asked out of curiosity. Just a daily treasure I hid in this stump's orifice, Lancer answers her with his goofy smile. And that is? Feast for yourself, my main girl. Lancer offered for them to try it out for themselves. Naruto, do you want to, try it? Ralsei asked Naruto if he wanted to give it a try. He just looked at her as if wanting to say, no, not interested, but Ralsei's pure-hearted smile just to encourage him, made him want to sigh at this, knowing she wants him to try to be nice to Suzy so he can't decline as much as he wants to. Naruto unfortunately decided to try it, but only because he's doing this for Ralsei. He stepped forward while looking inside of the wooden stump. There was a honey pot of salsa sauce inside the stump. Naruto just poked a finger inside to scoop a bit up and ate some salsa. It recovered something. Not HP, just something. Suzy tried some for herself and she seems to like whatever this is after she tasted it. Hey, what's in this? She asked curiously. I don't know. Lancer answered, he had no idea. Naruto just mentally shook his head at the both of them, feeling that he and Ralsei have overstayed their welcome. He along with Ralsei left both Suzy and Lancer behind to enjoy eating salsa in a stump, continuing on their journey. So what was in that stump, Naruto? Ralsei asked out of curiosity as she walked up next to him. It was salsa sauce. Don't know why they're eating a honey pot of salsa in a stump or why Lancer put it in there of all places, but I'm just gonna let them enjoy their snack as we move on, Naruto told her while just accepting that it's a Lancer thing for him to do for unknown reasons. I see. Ralsei smiles, understanding, and probably agrees with him on that department, so she won't question it as she hopes both Suzy and Lancer enjoy their snack. Anyways, the two arrive at the next room where they see multiple WHP pawnmen spinning around square-shaped attacks in the middle paths. The two started approaching. Naruto felt his soul pulse strongly as if alerting him to be careful. Realizing this, Naruto figured that he'd need to time this right as he and Ralsei went the opposite direction and move around while avoiding the spinning squares, then repeating the tactic once more with the second one, and in no time, they avoided taking damage as they entered the next area. Soon they find a room where there's a chest in the middle, a darkner that resembles a metal jack with two eyes that protrude from between four of their prongs, while the last two spikes append an elongated body and act as legs. There's another darkner who's literally just a little ball. Naruto was curious about what's in the chest since the first one they found in the fields of hopes and dreams was a white ribbon which he gave to Ralsei. He wonders what's in that chest. He walks towards it but was stopped as he heard the metal jack darkner spoke to him and Ralsei after noticing them here. "Hey there. You folks look like heroes. Right?" The metal jack darkner asked curiously. "Yeah. That's right. And you are?" Naruto asked in confusion. "Oh, pardon me for not introducing myself. The name's Royal Coat Rack, and that one other there is just Little Ball. If you guys are heroes, then please take the scarf from this chest and defeat the king. Besides, it's old, ragged, and doesn't fit me anymore. That's what chests are for. It's kind of hand-me-down situation in there," said the now named Royal Coat Rack after introducing itself. "I see, thanks I guess." Naruto thanks the darkner for its generosity. He looked at the little ball expecting it to discuss something but instead. "I'm just a little ball, I don't want to discuss anything," said the little ball tiredly, not having anything to say in general. Naruto just decides to leave the little ball be since it's clear to him that it doesn't want to discuss anything, so he'll respect its decision. He goes over to the treasure chest and opens it, and inside is the tattered scarf which he identifies to be a ragger. He took the ragger out of the chest and held it out for a proper view. Well, the Royal Coat Rack wasn't kidding when he said it's an old, rugged scarf. "Not sure if I want it, but I suppose I'll equip it just so I can put it into good use at the very least," thought Naruto as he wore the scarf loosely around his neck. After doing so, something unexpected happened. The scarf started glowing brightly while something was emitting warmth from Naruto's pocket, which he quickly took to see that it is the magatama that he bought from the gift shop. It seems to be resonating with the scarf as it was showcasing its unknown mystical power. "Naruto? What's going on?" Ralsei asked in a worried tone, since she doesn't know what's happening or why both the ragger and that strange stone Naruto is holding are strangely glowing while sensing some unknown energy. I don't know. I'm just as confused as you are." Naruto was unsure on what to do since this never happened before with the magatama, so this is a first for him witnessing this strange occurrence. The magatama shone brightly along with the ragger as it suddenly changed the old, rugged scarf into a brand new one compared to how it was before. The ragger is now a appealing orange scarf that bears the dark delta rune symbol on it as it flows majestically around his neck. Then the light show dies down as the magatama returns back to normal. "Whoa, I wasn't expecting that to happen," Naruto said in surprise, which is understandable, and he's not the only one, as Ralsei, the Royal Coat Rack and the little ball were just as surprised at what they just witnessed. "I'll say, but Naruto, your scarf has changed a lot," Ralsei said, pointing out that the scarf looks completely new compared to how it originally was before the change. "Yeah, so bizarre, but I'm not gonna lie though, it looks great. Has a nice flair to it," said Naruto while feeling the texture of the brand new ragger, which is soft to the touch, but he can feel the power coming from it due to whatever the magatama did to it. "By the heavens! Never in my life have I ever witnessed something so magical. That was amazing," the Royal Coat Rack exclaims after witnessing the ragger change into a sleek-looking brand new scarf that's resting around the lightner's neck comfortably by that strange stone he took out of his pocket. "I agree. That took me by surprise, but I must say that ragger looks quite majestic," the little ball said, having been startled by what had taken place but then amazed at the sight of the scarf's new appearance. "Thanks guys. I appreciate the compliments for my new scarf," Naruto thanked the two before looking at Ralsei. "What about you? Does it look good on me?" "Oh. Yes. It definitely looks amazing on you. I believe it suits you," Ralsei said with a smile as she compliments him. "Ah, thanks Ralsei. I appreciate your compliment," Naruto said with a grin, Ralsei smiles back at him while slightly blushing, for she couldn't help but notice just how majestic that scarf makes him appear. In fact, it makes him look even more handsome and cool the longer she looks at him. She starts getting flustered and begins to blush bright red as her innocent mind starts running wild. Are you alright, Ralsei? Your face is all red all of a sudden," Naruto asks in confusion when he notices that Ralsei is acting weird, so he walks up to her and puts his hand on her forehead to see she's not catching a cold or anything, if that's possible for darkness. That action made Ralsei's cheeks turn a dark shade of red as she's blushing hard as she stutters in response to him. Oh. I am fine. I'm perfectly fine. Really. Nothing to worry about. Naruto raised an eyebrow at her strange behavior but decided not to question it, so he just takes her word for it. Okay. Well, if you're feeling something strange, let me know, alright? He asked with his trademark smile. Ralsei blushed like crazy. She nods rapidly while covering her face with her hat out of embarrassment, something Naruto finds quite adorable the way she's acting. Heh, that's quite cute from what you're acting. It's making me not outright hug you from that cuteness of yours again, Naruto complimented her with an amused smile, to which Ralsei started making embarrassing noises from being called cute. Naruto! Ralsei exclaims out of embarrassment, clearly not used to feeling this way nor getting complimented like that. But it makes her happy that he calls her cute and adorable. Naruto just laughed a bit as he decided not to tease her for fun anymore. Still, on a serious note, he stared at his Rager then back at his Magatama in a serious expression while in thought, I don't know what just happened or why the Magatama reacted to the Rager that changed its appearance into a new version of it. And that unknown energy that I felt from it. It feels ancient, mystical even. Once I find my way out of the dark world, I'm gonna need Alphys to run a few tests on this thing to find out what it was that it demonstrated. Perhaps I'll find some answers regarding that monk I saw in my vision. Naruto, if you don't mind me asking, what's that stone you're holding that caused it to emit a strange foreign energy? It felt ancient, Ralsei asked while looking at the strange stone in curiosity. Oh, right, well, it's a Magatama. It's a stone that symbolizes good fortune for whoever bears it, and among other meanings such as protecting one's health, eliminating calamities that may harm one's body, and even has strong power to repel evil spirits. I got this from a gift store and that it was recovered from the ruins of an unknown temple. I don't know what it just did the moment I equipped the Rager that turned it into what it is now, but apparently this stone holds some mystical abilities that I'm not aware of, and I'm currently looking into it since the Magatama is still a mystery to me until I learn more of its origin, Naruto explains to Ralsei. Wow, that's amazing. I never knew something like that existed in the Lightner world. I can only imagine the secrets that stone holds, which is just waiting to be discovered, Ralsei said with amazement as her eyes turned to stars filled with curiosity after hearing this and what kind of power that stone still retains. Yeah, I can only imagine that too. For now, I'll look into it later because we have more pressing matters to attend to, Naruto said after putting away the Magatama back into his pocket. Oh. Of course, you're right. We should return back to our quest. Sorry for getting all excited, Ralsei apologized for letting her curiosity get the better of her. No need to apologize, I can understand. Anyways, I believe we stayed here for too long, so let's get a move on, yeah. Naruto suggested to Ralsei, to which she nodded in agreement as they need to get back to their mission. Naruto then looks back at the royal coat rack and little ball, thanks for letting me have the Rager. I promise to put it to good use. No problem. You guys are heroes, so it's only natural that you need it if it'll aid you in defeating the king. We should be thanking you for that amazing display. That was quite a spectacular moment I didn't think we would witness here, right little ball, said the royal coat Hero 3. It praises Naruto in conviction while asking little ball if they're the same boat, to which it nodded in full agreement. Heh, no problem. Well, it's time to take our leave, thanks again for the scarf and wish us luck, Naruto said to the two. Then he looked at Ralsei, come on buddy, let's go. Right, Ralsei said as the two left the room while the royal coat rack and little ball bid them farewell and wished them good luck on their quest. The two came back at the spinning WHP Ponman and like before, they timed their move to move around them, and this time, they took the right side as they entered the next room. They arrive at a puzzle room where they come across Suzy and Lancer, standing in front of a blueprint while next to them is a symbol matching puzzle, which is why there's spikes blocking the path. Suzy and Lancer were drawing something for what seemed like an evil plan, for which Naruto and Ralsei approached them. Then add a mustache over there, Suzy told Lancer. He, like this? Lancer draws up Suzy's suggestion. Ha. Yeah. That's perfect. Do I want to know what these two are doing, thought Naruto as he quirks an eyebrow at whatever it is that they are drawing on that blueprint of theirs. How's the scheming coming along, you two? Ralsei asked like usual, hoping they wouldn't get offended this time. Hey, don't look. Spoilers. Suzy screamed when Ralsei tried peeking at their drawings. Naruto just shrugged his shoulders at Ralsei since he's not all that interested in what they're drawing. Naruto was about to head over to the symbol matching puzzle until he heard Suzy calling out to him. Hey Naruto, Lancer's gonna help me rip up my outfit so it looks all badass and renegade and stuff, Suzy teased him. Naruto raised an eyebrow wondering what she was trying to do by saying that. Yes. I have some wavy scissors. Lancer said smiling. Okay. So what was the point of you telling me this? Naruto asked, feeling a bit confused about why she told him this out of nowhere. Just sayin', if you join our side he can do yours too, Suzy continued, smiling. Naruto was by all means not interested in the slightest at the offer, mentally rolling his eyes at her poor attempt. However, for Ralsei, her eyes wielded in shock when she realized what Suzy was up to. She's trying to steal Naruto. No, it can't be. Naruto is the legendary hero. I need him, thought Ralsei, panicking a bit while trying to hide her embarrassment and kept herself calm. Naruto, if you stay on my side I can, hem some floral patterns into your ascot, she told Naruto, trying to stop Suzy's attempt to make him a bad guy. She couldn't stand losing him. She got nervous. Naruto looked at her in slight surprise by this as he was about to reassure her that he's not interested in joining them, but Lancer interrupted him. Oh, can you hem some into me? Lancer asked her. Suzy face-palmed in reaction to her fellow bad guy's request. No. Suzy sighed and just returns her focus back on their plan. Ralsei smiled at the very least after calming herself down to relax. After all, Naruto didn't say he was going to be part of their team, so that's good enough for her. Naruto has no idea what just happened, but for the likes of him, he decided to just not question it, especially Ralsei offering to give him some floral patterns into his ascot if he remained on her side. That was strange. Not like he was switching sides or anything. Anyway, he refocused on their task as clearly Suzy and Lancer are stuck in this puzzle room and too busy doing whatever they're doing with the blueprint drawing something, so he might as well solve it for them so they can proceed onward. He went over to the symbol matching puzzle where there's a sign next to it and he silently reads it with Ralsei next to him as she too look at it along with him. Enter the password. Note, due to everyone forgetting the password, it's written at the top. Naruto didn't say a word after reading this as his face was neutral on the outside, but on the inside, he was annoyed. So the password is literally right there and Suzy never bothered to try. Unbelievable. Still, he'll just solve it so they can move on. Ralsei watched him with a smile as he got started on solving the puzzle, which he didn't waste any time as he first started pressing the spade button, diamond button, then back to spade button again. Once that's done, he presses the red and black arrow button, which deactivated the spikes while at the same time catching both Suzy and Lancer's attention as they took notice that the spikes are now gone. They looked at Naruto and Ralsei as the former just had his arms crossed with a raised eyebrow while remaining neutral without showing how annoyed he is, while Ralsei just smiled with her eyes closed behind him. Suzy didn't say a word from this for a moment before she and Lancer quickly took off laughing with a smirk on her face. Heh. Thanks for doing the puzzle for us, losers. Ha ha ha. Thank you so much, losers. We were having trouble. Lancer said, smiling goofily. Naruto just watches them go without a word while still remaining neutral with his arms crossed while slightly looking at the blueprint they just left behind. Before he could see what they were drawing, they suddenly came back for their blueprint. We need this, Suzy said as she and Lancer reclaimed their blueprint before taking off again. Naruto just sighed as he shook his head in pure disappointment at Suzy playing the villain instead of helping to find a way home. Whatever, he'll just let her do what she wants. Alright Ralsei, let's keep moving, he said as he walked forward with Ralsei following behind him as they left the puzzle room. The next room they entered contains another suit puzzle where the upward left side is blocked off by spikes. Naruto was curious to see where that area leads but he doesn't know the password for it in order to enter, so for the time being, they'll come back for it later. Anyways, they were about to resume their journey but upon seeing something zooming across the path back and forth. It looked like a box-shaped darkener as far as they're aware. At first, they tried to avoid this enemy as they darted down to the bottom area just to let the enemy pass by but in doing so, he noticed something that's written across from them and behind. There were separate tiles that were visible to him as he saw the first tile was a spade and the second was a diamond. He can't see the third tile as it's on the other side across from them while that box-like enemy is zooming across back and forth. So Naruto has no choice but to deal with it first before proceeding. Of course he could just wait till pass by them and just get across and do the same routine but he much rather not have to put up with the enemy in their way as much if they can help. So, both Naruto and Ralsei came up above the bottom path as the box-shaped enemy closed in on them and once it got close enough, they immediately got into their battle sequence as the fight commences. Blocks are assembled. Naruto now has a good view of the now named Bloxer as instead of being a box-shaped enemy, it resembles a boxer, but with a blocky aesthetic. Although it looks a bit out of place for the enemy due to its head being on the bottom which should have been for the legs but doesn't know how it's standing on its antenna as legs, and of course its legs as the head. At least its arms are in the right place for the middle body. Naruto was thinking how he should approach this enemy as he selects the ACT option to see what he and Ralsei can do about this enemy. It shows a single option called rearrange which seems to require him to reposition its body to its natural state as it should be. He selected the option while having Ralsei prepare to spare the enemy as he suspects that the moment he fixes the Bloxer's body, it'll be ready to be spared afterwards. The Bloxer's body started to separate into 3 segments, the head, body and legs. Naruto needs to assemble the correct body parts for the Bloxer to be whole. For starters, he selected the head first, followed by the body and lastly the legs. Once it's been rearranged to its correct body parts, the Bloxer looks happy with its new body judging by its pleased expression on its face. Bloxer is pleased with its new self. Once the Bloxer is pleased with its new blocky body, Ralsei immediately spared it, thus ending the fight very quickly without anyone getting hurt. You won. Got 0 EXP and $38. Now that the enemy has been dealt with, Naruto along with Ralsei immediately head on down to the right side bottom area which they now learn the third tile is a club. So now he knows the password for the symbol puzzle which is spade, diamond and club, they can gain access to that area to see where that path leads. They retreated to the symbol puzzle area and Naruto wasted no time putting in the password. He started with pressing spade, then diamond, then the red and black arrows button to change the symbols into different ones, then pressed spades again and finally he refixes the first 2 symbols back to how it was by pressing the red and black arrow button again which ultimately deactivated the spikes and allowing them to proceed to the next area. Naruto and Ralsei proceeded to enter the new area. They arrived at a room where they discovered another treasure chest along with 2 blue block darkeners standing next to it. Before he goes to the chest, he decided to interact one of the blue block darkeners which he started with one on the left. Hey there. Do you guys mind if we check what's inside the treasure chest? Naruto asked in case they need to ask for their permission. Bow bow. Break the box for a bracelet. Bow bow. It will boost your defense, said the blue block as it kept saying, bow bow, but somehow they could understand what it said which is even stranger than itself. Naruto went to the other blue block on the right to see what it has to say. The king wants to eliminate lighteners, but we didn't agree with that. We escaped, but the others were arrested, said the second blue block as Naruto quirks an eyebrow at this new information. So these two blue blocks, which he'll just call them B block on the left and O block on the right, have escaped from the king who wanted to eliminate Lightners, which these two didn't agree with, so they fled while the other subjects were arrested. Seems like the more he learns about this king, he's starting to sound just like a tyrant who listens to no one's opinion but his own. Anyways, he went over to the treasure chest and opened the box, which inside it was a dice brace. He took the dice brace as it was added in the armor section of his inventory. Now, Naruto has no use for the dice brace despite it increases defenses, but if anyone needs protection, it's Ralsei. He decided to hand it over to her, which she looked a bit surprised by what he's offering. Oh, you're giving me another gift? Ralsei questioned him, blushing. Naruto nodded with a smile as he clearly doesn't need it, but he's more than happy to give it to her if it increases her defense stats even more. She accepts his gift as she takes the dice brace while putting the bracelet on her right arm, thus equipping it while looking at the inscribed cubes of various symbols. It says, friendship, said Ralsei with enthusiasm, feeling like this made her cuter more, but decided it was best to keep it to herself instead of asking Naruto again. Glad you like the gift. Anyway, let's get back on track, he said, preparing to leave, which Ralsei nodded in agreement while happily enjoying yet another new gift given by Naruto, which she'll cherish like with her white ribbon. After bidding the two blue blocks farewell, the duo resumed back to their original objective as they left the room and proceeded to go to the next area after leaving the second yet optional puzzle room. Once again, they reached the next area, which is yet another suit puzzle, but this particular one has paths surrounding it. Naruto notices something near the entrance as he and Ralsei went over to take a look. He suspected this was supposed to be the solution to this puzzle, but it's vandalized with a calligraphy pen. Looks like the order of symbols was red black red, not like that's gonna help them figure out the answer to the puzzle. I'm gonna take a wild guess that whoever vandalized the tiles, which was supposed to be the solution to the puzzle, could be both Suzy and Lancer's doing. Naruto suspected they're trying to sabotage him and Ralsei in order to prevent them from proceeding further. Oh no! The solution to the puzzle has been vandalized. How are we supposed to get through this? Ralsei asked in worry, since they have no way to continue on from here. I don't know, I might just have to wing it in hopes we get the correct password to unlock the spikes, said Naruto while he's currently thinking up solutions to get through this problem. He went over to the puzzle and started pressing the symbol buttons at random in hopes it'll work. Of course it didn't, as he tried again a few times, but like the first time, he can't seem to get through this puzzle, which starts to bother him. This isn't working. How are we supposed to get through this without the password? Naruto kept trying to come up with any solution he has yet to try yet, since clearly they won't get anywhere with this for the time being. Ralsei just watches him with a sad smile as he tries to figure out how they can proceed without the password, since the instructions to the solution has been vandalized. She wanted to help him, but she doesn't know how she could help since she's not much of a puzzle solver like he is, unfortunately. However, she then notices something that caught her eye as she sees something she didn't notice before. Hey Naruto, look over there. Ralsei tries to get his attention by tapping on his shoulder. Huh? What is it? Asked Naruto, wondering what she's trying to show him. Apparently, Ralsei was directing him to look at a hole where a white round head which has 3 eyes in the shape of a club with horns on a long neck is seen popping out of it. The Darkner smiles at them brightly. Oh, hello there, we couldn't help but overhear your conversation from earlier. We wanted to tell you that it wasn't that purple girl and the Arke's son, but rather the Arke himself, to prevent Lightners from solving the puzzle. I see. Then would you know of the solution to the puzzle by any chance? Asked Naruto, noting new info about the king while finding it odd why this Darkner is using the pronoun we to identify herself. Of course we do, cutie, said the Darkner eagerly. Naruto felt a bit awkward at being flirted with so openly, then again Ms. Muffet does it too. Ralsei felt rather uncomfortable with how this Darkner is being so brazen with her friend. For starters, the first symbol in the puzzle is a red heart, as in love. That's good to know. What about the rest? Asked Naruto. Darkner seemed a bit unsure at that question. For that, you might need to ask the others about it since they more about it. Thanks very much, we'll go and see them, Rousei immediately pulls Naruto towards where the other holes she told them are. They approached one of the hole where a familiar darkner popped out of it to meet them, but they couldn't help but notice a change in the vibe it emits, seeming more reserved compared to before. Excuse me, but your friend from earlier told us that you might know a clue about the second symbol to the puzzle, said Rousei. Darkner nodded timidly in response, not exactly, as the symbols change often, but we do recall the color. Sorry for not being much help to you. It's alright, every little thing helps in the long. Naruto reached out and gently petted the Darkner's head, which seems to cheer her up a bit. He often does this for Frisk or Israel whenever they get nervous. They bid her goodbye as they went to the last hole, which it's the same Darkner yet again, but this one seems to have a rather haughty personality, which they quickly learnt the moment she opened her mouth. We could care less about the puzzle, but what really grinds our gears is that none of the symbols are clubs. We find it rather insulting, said the Darkner, feeling rather annoyed and wasn't stopping her ranting any time soon. I see, Naruto mildly mutters, but he didn't fail to notice a clue in the Darkner's rant to figure that the puzzle requires no club symbols in it. We'll be on our way and not bother you anymore. Gently pushing Rousei away, they left the Darkner, who continues to rant, and made their way back to the puzzle with the information that they had gained. Naruto hummed thoughtfully, according to what they said, then the symbols should be red heart, black spade, red diamond. Upon selecting those symbols in that order, the spikes instantly retracted themselves back into the ground, granting them access to the next area, much to the duo's. You did it. Rousei cheered happily. Naruto smiles, yeah, now we can get out of this place. They were about to leave the area but then stopped as they heard something that's walking towards them from behind. The duo turned around only to be taken by surprise upon seeing the Darkner from before, except that it has 3 heads with long necks which are all connected to single large quadrupedal body with a long tail, the end looking like a 3-horned cross. Now I finally understand why each of them used the word we, thought Naruto with a sweat drop. The happy head spoke first. Hey. It's my birthday today. The haughty head spoke second, and you didn't even say hello. The timid head barely mutters, that's fine, actually. Birthday. Then they must be Clover, whom the Rudin told us about before. Rousei whispers to Naruto. Yeah, but he kinda left out certain details that we're looking at right now, Naruto responds while looking at said details. Clover continues to speak to the two. Stop and say hi, folks. Shut up. They don't deserve us. Hey, calm down, you two. Naruto and Rousei took a step back, seeing how aggressive one of the 3 heads is being right now. Why is one of them so upset, said Rousei confusedly. Naruto took a more guarded stance, who knows? Just get ready to defend yourself. Let's celebrate my birthday. Yeah, get ready to hurt. Oh, I'm sorry about this. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 10. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author Hussbek on FANFICTIONnet. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.